is a Rogers Sports presentation.
Friday night in Ottawa, the winless Oshawa Generals and the Ottawa 67s in their first meeting of the regular season. Scoring begins in the first period. Rookie defenseman Ladislav Kolda with his second of the year. A power play marker, it's 1-0 Oshawa. They go up by a pair on this play. Ottawa native Ben Eager scores the first of his OHL career with an assist going to Brandon Cullen. The Gens captain has now scored 10 points in the first 10 games of the regular season. In the second frame, the 67s get on the board. Defenseman John Zion on a power play with his fourth. The score at that point was 2-1. Oshawa regains the 2-goal lead. Ryan Fraser has his shot get through. That makes it 3-1, but it doesn't stay that way for long. Ottawa would have another power play opportunity. It's John Zion scoring his second of the period at the 14-minute mark. It was a one-goal hockey game. In the third, the 67s think they tie it, but for the first time this season, Oshawa gets a break. The goal is disallowed, and the Generals go on to win their first game of 2000-2001. Tonight, Blaine Down and the Barrie Colts walk into the odd looking for win number 9. It's a family affair. Gens rookie Shawn Stefanski will face off against his father for the first time in his OHL career, Colts head coach Bud Stefanski. Live from the Civic Auditorium in Oshawa, it's the Oshawa Generals and the Barrie Colts.
Welcome to the Civic Auditorium in Oshawa. I'm Shawn Lackie. A special hello to all those out in the province joining the Rogers OHL Game of the Week telecast. The OHL defending champ Barrie Colts make their first trip to the Civic Auditorium of the year. Funny thing about this team, you know, they changed a lot of faces in the offseason. You take a look at the Central Division standing and who is on top again, the Barrie Colts. The same can't be said about the Oshawa Generals. They've had a rough go, to say the very least, out of the gate, but they did record win number 1 of the season Friday night in Ottawa. Good thing, though, when these two teams hook up, they always provide a very high-spirited contest. Should be the same tonight. But for more on tonight's game, let's get up to a couple of high spirits of our own, Bob Benham and Joel Gallant. Gentlemen?
Thanks very much, Shawn Lackie. Well, Joel Gallant, the Oshawa Generals coming off their first victory of the season, game number 10 the other night, game number 11 tonight. Can they build on that momentum that they picked up in Ottawa?
As far as the fans in Oshawa are concerned, it's about time. They are looking to build on that win in Ottawa on Friday night. They'll be in tough tonight against this Barrie Colts team. The OHL champs have lost a lot of scoring punch, but they're just as good if you look at the standings this year.
We know the rivalry that's taken place between these two teams over the last couple of years, going back to the playoffs back in 98 and 99. And here we are again tonight, Barrie Colts. And last year we had that infamous stick swinging incident here as Tony Tanti is being introduced at center ice. He'll be doing the ceremonial face-off. But first of all, Joel, the tenders of the twine tents tonight.
In goal for the Oshawa Generals tonight, Derek Doles and TJ Chetty got the start on Friday, but Doley, the goalie, is back tonight. He's been solid so far this year, and who else would you expect besides Brian Finley tonight? Well, maybe Mike D'Alessandro, but on this night, it's Brian Finley getting the start for the Barrie Colts. Good look there at Brian Finley, and of course, as Shawn mentioned off the top, this Barrie Colts team, again, off to another very good start this year under Coach Bud Stefanski, and a lot of different personalities on this Barrie team. And of course, we know what happened with all the different players that have left Barrie from last year, and the kind of the
turmoil that they went through. I think Bud Stefanski is the type of coach that probably has a settling effect on this team.
Well, I would hope so. Last year, under the tutelage of Bill Stewart, this team did very well as far as the standings were concerned. They went to the Memorial Cup. They won the OHL Championship, and they did very well at the Memorial Cup, although they didn't end up winning it. But some of the players that have left the Barrie Colts, you think of the Quincy Four, first of all, Mike Jefferson, Ryan Barnes, Sheldon Keefe, Sean Cation, those type of guys maybe had a negative effect in the dressing room, and although it didn't show with the end result. But so far this year, it seems that the chemistry may be a little better for the Barrie Colts. They're doing very well with a lot less than they had last year, and I would think that you could give a lot of the credit for that to head coach Bud Stefanski.
You're right. We know about the Oshawa Generals. They've certainly undergone a lot of change since the start of the season, and of course this week they added Brad Walford, number 12 from the North Bay Centennials.
Well, Brad Walford is a guy that the Generals picked up, and nothing in return so far. I'm assuming it's future considerations, but look at him now. He's starting hockey games for the Oshawa Generals. 2 assists in his first game on Friday night against Ottawa, and now he lines up at center against Durham native Blaine Down here tonight.
Play underway here in the first period as the Barrie Colts have control of the puck in their own zone. Puck played back into the Barrie zone, picked up on this side by Branham. He plays it down into the General zone. Back to pick it up is called to number 27, the rookie defenseman who scored the other night in Ottawa, his second goal of the season. The Generals break out at center. Puck played in by Walford. Repneff out there, and Vladimir Repneff, Joel, back in the lineup tonight after missing 3 games due to a suspension. Yeah,
3-game automatic suspension for a match penalty that he picked up against the Windsor Spitfires. I guess it was a week ago last Sunday, and he missed 3 games for that, and he's back in the lineup tonight. The Generals will have missed him offensively.
Cold intercepts that pass, steps over center, drifts that one in on Finley, and he's going to play that behind the net. Brandon Cullen out there plays that puck back to Spence, and we talk about Brandon Cullen, and one of the good reasons he was named captain is the leadership he's showing this year, Joel, and the fact he does have 10 points in 10 games here for the Oshawa Generals at the start of this season.
I've been very impressed with Brandon Cullen this year, not only for what he's done offensively, the 10 points in the first 10 games, but you watch him leading by example. He's out there all the time for the Generals, power play, penalty kill, regular strength. And he does the little things. He goes out there and throws the big hit when he has to. You see him giving the rookies a pat on the back on the bench. Very good leader, in my opinion.
Cullen along the boards, gets that puck out on the far wing. Played in by Nolan. Finley out of his net to hold it. O'Keefe plays it up at center. Colts unable to break away as Healy comes in off the wing. Now his wrong wing gets a shot away, and a good pad save in there by Finley, and the net's taken off its mooring, so we'll have a whistle and a face-off back in the Barrie zone. Play just underway. We're 18:15 to go here in the first period. The Generals so far 2 shots on goal. Barrie none at this point.
Speaking of Gen's rookies, Tobias Whalen and Shawn Stefanski out here on this particular shift. Watch Stefanski go to the net up the middle. You'll see the puck come across in this particular play, and Stefanski going hard to the net, and that's another side plot to this hockey game here tonight. Of course, Shawn Stefanski, rookie for the Generals, head coach of the Barrie Colts, Bud Stefanski, coaching against his son tonight, so an interesting little twist.
And for the Oshawa fans used to seeing Shawn Stefanski wear number 20, he has taken over number 16, previously worn by Nick Lees, who was traded away. Playing the Barrie Colts zone, Stefanski playing along the boards, and I'm sure that young Shawn's got to be playing with a little bit of emotion here tonight against his dad's team.
I would expect so. He was a healthy scratch on Friday night versus the Ottawa 67s in the nation's capital. Back in the lineup tonight, I think Coach George Burnett knows that he's going to have a little jump in his skates.
Stefanski with a long shoot in, easily handled by Finley. That'll give the Generals a chance to change up. Generals pick it up. Carrying over the blue line, drop back to number 12. That's Walford, and that shot steered wide of the net. Reed's in there now for the Colts to pick up that puck. He'll swing it around on the far side. Renner unable to get out. The Generals with some good forechecking here early in this first period. Walford in the corner, goes behind that at the Repneff out front to Plunkett, and that shot right on, and a good save in there by Finley. Good work by the Generals early in this first period, and they're going to fire that down the ice, and this will be an icing call against the Generals. And maybe, Joel, at this point, there is a new icing rule in the OHL. Tell our fans about it.
Yeah, with the first icing, it's a good time as any to talk about the new rule that took effect on Friday night for the Ontario Hockey League. At one time, it was if the puck went through the crease on an icing from behind the other team's, or from behind the red line, I should say, if the puck was to go through the crease, icing would be waved off. Now, to stay consistent with all icings, even if it does go through the crease, the icing will be called. So just a very minor change to the rules.
Gazoritz out there for the Generals to face off deep in the Colts zone. Mitchell at the point, able to keep it in. Cullen out there with Kazoritz and Nolan. Kazoritz in the far corner with that puck. He's being watched there by Down, Blaine Down, number 9. Puck tied up along the boards as well. Number 15, Branham in there to try and tie up that puck. Generals with some good work down low. Passfield tied up on the far side. Nolan in there to try and get that puck loose, and Branham's in there to pick it up for the Colts. Branham now swings out on this side. Passfield unable to get in and get a clear shot away as the Generals defense steered him into the corner. Mitchell now on the far side will start out. Mitchell over center ice, fires one in wide of the net. Cullen unable to get to that puck as it bounces back to center, and Spence there for the Generals to pick it up. Spence cross ice for Mitchell. Mitchell misfires in the first shooting, gets it in on the second attempt, and that bounces into Finley, and he steers it behind the net. John Hedberg now with that puck, plays it up on this side to Montgomery out of his reach. Fivevold's there to pick it up. He plays it on the far side, and the Colts will change up. Finley out of his net to hold that puck up. Eager on the far side gets a shot in. Ben Eager scored his first goal of the season the other night in Ottawa. Joel, and this is the guy I know the Generals are looking to for big things. Good pad save there by Dolson on that shot. Montgomery breaks up the center, stripped of the puck. Hedberg back to pick it up. Colts now with that puck. Cloutier steps over, gets a shot in, and that's steered into the corner off the stick of Dolson. Montgomery along the near boards will just backhand it out to center. Cloutier there to pick it up. He'll leave it there for Henderson, and Henderson, Joel, leading point getter for this Barrie Colts team. 10 goals and 11 assists in the first 11 games, and named OHL Player of the Week just a week ago in the OHL.
Yeah, great honor for Mike Henderson and a very good week. 8 points in 3 games last week for the Barrie Colts, and that's what you expect from your overagers, some point production.
Spenskin with a shot, that's well wide of the net. The Colts break out. Bakerlick plays it over and back. Bremner tries to get it in. The Generals are in there to help steer that puck away from the net as the Colts come close here. That's steered out in front of the net. Dolson's down trying to get a pad on it, and he covers up just in time as Bakerlick was taken to the ice. So some furious action around the Oshawa Generals net, and the shots now 6-5 in favor of the Barrie Colts. Still looking for our first goal of the game.
Take a look at this on the replay, Bob, and watch TJ Achetti, or I should say Derek Dolson. I'm looking at TJ Achetti on the bench while I talk, of course. Derek Dolson makes the first save. Ryan Healy comes over and levels one of the Barrie Colts forwards. A great job to do that, to get him out of there, but then he leaves, and you see the Barrie Colts player gets the puck back and another scoring chance. You would have liked to see Healy stay with him.
Paul Ranger gets that puck up on the boards. They're down the ice by Repnev. Tanute loses that puck in there. Walford doesn't know he had it on the backhand, tried to steer it towards the net. Repnev in there to try and pick up a loose puck for the Generals. Walford in there as well. Walford along the sideboards, plays it back in behind the net. Picked up by Joey Tanute. He plays it on the far side, and the Colts play it out to center. Generals with that puck back in. Walford tries to get around his man. Good work in there by Eric Greets. Frazier now at center. Couldn't control the puck, gives it away. Tanute in with that puck, cleared out front. Old Dolson with a good pad save. Generals a little sloppy in their own zone. Plunkett now at center, plays it in. Didn't quite get it all. The linesman on the far side is going to wave it off. Generals in there get the puck back to the point, but out of the reach of Cullen as he was coming off the bench. Puck played out on the far side. That pass intercepted and cleared back down by the Colts. Colda takes a stiff hit at the Barrie bench from down. Passfield plays his man into the corner. Branham is there to pick up the puck. Play back in the general zone. Colda in there to pick it up. Nolan on the far side, unable to get it out in the first attempt, but he picks up a loose puck and comes to center. He's out there with Cullen. Cullen going wide. Plays it out for Cullen, and that pass goes off his stick into the corner. Branham now with that puck for the Colts, up through center and over the Generals blue line, just plays it in on net, steered into the corner by Dolson. Byveld's in there to try and play it out, and Cullen unable to pick up that loose puck and break loose. Ryan O'Keefe plays it back at the center to Henderson. His pass blocked by Kazoritz. O'Keefe comes across on this side with that puck to Platil. He steps over center, drifts one in on Dolson, an easy save there, but a big fat rebound. Henderson unable to get that shot away. Spence into the corner trying to pick up that puck. Healy on the far side for the Generals as well. Healy now with that puck on the far boards. Out the center, tries to get it into Stefanski, and that was a glove pass, so that'll be a face-off just outside the Barrie blue line with 11:57 to go here in the scoreless first period.
Things have turned around in a real hurry here as far as pressure is concerned. The Generals looked great in the first 3 minutes. They were out shooting the Colts by a count of 5-0. If you look at the shot clock now, it's 9-5 in favor of the Barrie Colts. Take a look at the save by Derek Dolson from point blank. He gets the pad out and makes a pretty good save on the Barrie shooter, but that was just one of a few that he had to make. As I mentioned, 9-5 are the shots in goal in favor of Barrie at this point.
Platil with that puck, plays it off the boards out the center. Hedberg back for the Generals to pick it up. Hedberg plays it off the boards up to Repneff. Repneff in over the blue line. That shot in on Finley, and he's going to hold that for another face-off. Face-off will be to the left, although it looks like they're going to hold. Will be to the left of the goaltender Finley as we see the shot coming here. Shot would have been off the net. Finley chose to glove it and hold it for a face-off. Walford in for the Generals on this face-off. Wins the draw, gets it back to Hedberg. Hedberg winds up, that shot's tipped in front. Generals pick it up, score! Vladimir Repneff in his first game back puts the Generals in front 1-0.
In case you were wondering whether or not the Generals would miss Vladimir Repnev offensively, the answer is yes, and you saw why on that particular play. It all starts with a good face-off by the Generals. Brad Walford, the newest gen, and there's another assist for him. Gets it back to John Hedberg. Watch Hedberg wheel. He's got great feet at the blue line. He ends up firing this one at the net. The save is made by Finley, and there to pick up the rebound is Vladimir Repnev with some pretty good patience to wait and get around him on that play. The Generals lead 1-0.
Good play all the way around by the Generals. That's them the first goal of this game as they break out in front of the Barrie Colts 1-0. 11:36 to go here in the first period. Play at center ice, picked up by Brenner and shot in. Repneff's second goal of the year. That puck up in front of the Generals net, but the Generals there to clear it away. Cullen up on this side for Ben Eager. Played back out. Wales miscues. Kazoris in there to try and strip him of the puck. Fraser now for the Generals back at center. Will play it off the boards for Cullen. Kazoritz inside the blue line, plays it for Eager. Gets scored! Oshawa Generals 2-0. A miscue inside the Barrie Colts blue line. Joel and Ben Eager picked it up, put it away.
Well, the Generals have some momentum now. I'm not sure if Eric Reitz ended up screening his goaltender Finley a little bit on this one, but Ben Eager with a fairly harmless looking shot ends up getting past the goaltender. Watch number 5 Reitz as he falls to the ice. That may have just caught up Finley's line of vision just for a split second, and it was long enough for the puck to get past him, and that's Ben Eager, second in as many games, second of the season.
I believe Joel holds goals coming 31 seconds apart here in the first period. Ben Eager from John Kazoris has the Generals in front 2-0. 2 goals, 31 seconds apart here. Joel, just after we were talking about Barrie picking up the momentum and applying the pressure, the Generals come back with 2 quick goals.
Yeah, they're still being outshot by 1. 9-8 are the shots in goal in favor of Barrie, but the Generals get a couple, and that's going to set up some momentum for the team. And when playing in front of the hometown crowd, it should be a very big positive sign for the Generals throughout this game.
Some of the fans getting on Brian Finley early here in this first period, having given up a couple of quick goals to the Generals.
You know, they say that Brian Finley is one of the best junior hockey goaltenders in the world. He's represented Canada at the World Junior Championships. He's been drafted in the first round of the National Hockey League entry draft by the Nashville Predators.
Yeah.
A very strong goaltender, no doubt about it, but more times than not, we've seen him have tough games against the Oshawa Generals. Even in Barrie, we've seen him let in a couple from as far away as the blue line, and he just seems to have a little bit of trouble with the Oshawa Generals for one reason or another.
Good look there, Brian Finley, the goaltender whom we just spoke about. Good look there. Derek Dolson's been very solid here so far in this first period. Shots 9 apiece so far. Face off just inside the Generals blue line. Platil picks it up, gets an easy shot in on Dolson, and he's going to hold that for a face off with Judaziski looking for a rebound.
Speaking of players that have been offensively gifted for the Barrie Colts this year in the absence of some of those scores that they lost last year, we talk about Blaine Down being a Durham native, but what about Matt Judaziski? I tried to speak as little of him as possible because his name's too hard to say, but man, that guy can score goals.
A shot right off the faceoff and a good pad save by Dolson. That shot off the stick of Henderson. He's back in his own blue line, plays it on this side to Platil. He'll play it out the center. Bakerlick takes a solid hit there from Healy, and I believe Healy's going to get the gate for that, but that was a solid hit. And Bakerlick a little late getting to his feet, but he looks to be none the worse for that check. But Ryan Healy certainly had him in the bomb sights on that one.
We've seen Ryan Healy throw some big hits. That's his role in this Oshawa Generals team, to get out there and crash and bang, make some room for some of the other more offensively gifted players and get out there and make things happen for the Generals. He tries to do it on that particular play, and he ends up in the penalty box, just 2 minutes up on the board. Probably would be a boarding call.
Well, we'll see how the Barrie Colts do on the power play on the road so far this year, Joel. They're 10th on the power play in league, 20%, 3 goals on 15 power play opportunities, and the Generals are 6th at home, killing penalties with 87%, having given up 3 goals on 23 shorthanded opportunities. Barrie with that puck now in their own zone will try and get something set up here on this power play. Bakerlick on the far side, didn't quite reach the line, shot it in, but Dolson out of his net to play it, so there's no icing on that. Platil wide open on this side. O'Keefe plays it back in. Platil from this point, he winds up. Oh, and a good shot block there by Whalen. Looks like he may have felt that.
I felt that all the way up here.
Henderson now from the top of the circle gets a shot right on, and Dolson down to make the save. Oh, and a good save there by Dolson on the rebound. We have another penalty call coming here. I'm not sure who's getting the gate on this. It's a slashing call, and it looks like it could be Barrie. That's right, number 35 is going off. That's Fratisak Bakerlick. And Tobias Whalen is laboring at the bench on the far side for the Generals. And Joel, I think that's a result of that shot block he made just seconds ago.
You know, in case you were wondering why Coach George Burnett is so high on the play of Tobias Whalen, first of all, take a look at this save by Derek Dolson. Gets over to hit the side of the net. It looked like a good save from our vantage point, but talking about Tobias Whalen, what a great shot block to keep the puck from getting towards the goal on that particular play. He's out there killing penalties in his rookie season. Coach George Burnett has nothing but good things to say about Tobias Whalen so far this year, and now he's going to go off to the dressing room area. He really felt that one.
So we'll play a little 4-on-4 hockey here while the Barrie Colts had a short-lived power play. Bakerlick now in the boxes. Hedberg plays it on this side for Mitchell. Mitchell plays that to a wide open wing on the other side. Nobody there but white-shirted Colts. They play it in on Dolson. Mitchell back to pick it up, plays it into the corner. John Hedberg. Of course, Hedberg and Mitchell coming over in that trade just a few short weeks ago, Joel. And Mitchell has certainly been very steady on defense. Hedberg with a good move there. Gets it out in front, but steered away from the front of the net by Reitz. Laying down now with that puck and over the blue line. Gets a shot right on. Dolson there with a glove, and he's going to hold that for a face-off.
Mitchell and Hedberg are both pretty solid defensemen, and of course you would expect Mitchell to be a little more offensively or offensive-minded than John Hedberg on this particular play. It was Hedberg who got caught up in the offensive zone, and Mitchell was left on his own. Both players can skate with the puck, and both players are solid in their own zone as well. That's why Coach George Burnett has them out here 4-on-4 with the Barrie Colts.
Face off to the left of Dolson. Generals pick it up. Spence goes behind his net. Spence working it out slowly on this side, plays it up to Cullen out of his reach. Branham back to play it over on the far side. Eric Reitz with that puck, plays it back to Branham. Branham with a little speed through the center zone and over to the blue line. Plays it in behind the Generals net. Passfield on the far side, he's tied up. Kolda has his man tied up. Tanut in there looking for the puck. Tanut picks up the puck, tries to play it in front. Passfield now behind the net. Penalty now over to the Generals. They'll have a short-lived power play here of 35 seconds. Ryan Healy with that puck now for the Generals will bring it out to center. And over the blue line, takes it into the corner. Kazorit's in there to pick up that loose puck. Cole to open back at the point. Takes the pass, goes cross ice for Mitchell. He mishandles that. Plays it back into the corner, in behind the net to Healy. Kazoris with that puck now. Back to Cole, just tries to play it through, and Barrie defenseman plays it away very smartly with his hand. Cole now at the point. Couldn't get to it in time. Tanuk breaks out. One-on-one, and he'll take a long shot. That goes wide of the net. 7:04 to go here in the first period. The Generals in front of the Barrie Colts, 2-0. OHL Game of the Week on Rogers. Puck played out the center for Brandon Cullen. He's stripped of the puck. Henderson now at center, plays it in. Judziski unable to reach that pass. Dolson, oh, that was almost a miscue. He played it off the side of his own net. Puck played out front. Ryan O'Keefe in there for the Colts to try and pick it up. He's in off the defense. That puck bounces in just wide of the net. Back to the point to Reitz. He fans on the shot. Cullen picks it up. We could have a 2-on-1. Plunkett trying to catch up. Cullen labels it, and that just goes wide to the far side. Walford in to pick it up. Walford leaves it for Cullen. Plays it back to the point for Hedberg, but he had to back up as he was being watched in there by Bakerlick. Hedberg picks it up, takes a hit, but gets it deep into the Colts zone. Joel, we've seen Brandon Cullen. He does have a wicked shot when he gets time to wind up.
Don Cherry wouldn't have been happy with that one because the windup was so huge that he ended up leaving too much time, and it was deflected by the Barrie defender.
O'Keefe into the corner for the Colts, tries to play that puck, goes behind his own net now. Bakerlick now will wind it out on the far side. Spence over to Frazier. Frazier stumbles, but he manages to get back to his feet, gets the puck out the center. Repneff for Walford. Repneff along the boards. Plays it in. Power in there to pick it up. Reitz back to Power. Colts trying to get organized inside their own blue line. Reitz brings it out on the far side. Plunkett tries to strip him of the puck, and then Tobias Whalen, who's back out. He didn't miss a shift, Joel. You got to love this guy's work ethic, I'll tell you. Reitz back to pick it up. Comes cross ice for Power. Power up the center to down, and he'll backhand it into the general zone. Repneff is back to pick that up. That was just out of the reach of number 25, Eager. Eager's taking him down with a good hit, but then he takes down Power behind the net, or Reitz, I should say. Number 5 back to the point. That's blocked in front by the Colts. Tobias Whalen loses that puck at center. Down tries to get in. Generals trying to fight for possession. They managed to get it down the ice. 4:40 to go here in the first period. Good work by number 16, Shawn Stefanski on the forecheck, but down now for the Colts and over the blue line trying to get around Mitchell. Mitchell with good work to keep down to the outside. He wouldn't let him get to the net. Back to the point to Branham. He winds up. That shot's deflected wide off the stick of Byvelds. Down with that puck again, gets her right on. Dolson a quick look behind, but he had it in the glove, and he's going to hold that for a face-off. Shots 15-9 for the Barrie Colts, but they're trailing 2-0 on the scoreboard, and that's where she counts. Joel?
Pretty good, entertaining hockey game so far for the fans. We're seeing a little bit of flow through the hockey game. Back and forth it goes. The Barrie Colts with the pressure on this particular play. Derek Dolson holds on to that one, but good, clean, hard-hitting hockey. One player that's impressed me for the Generals so far tonight is Ben Eager. Of course, we mentioned he scored his first goal on Friday night and his second goal of his OHL career here tonight, but he's out there throwing the big hit. He's playing very, very confident hockey.
Generals track down the puck in their own zone. Frazier gives it up behind the net. Passfield, and there he comes out on the back end. Dolson down, and he spreads to make the save. Derek Dolson very solid in goal here in this first period. Generals now at center. Kazoris in over the blue line. He's out there with Montgomery. That shot drifts wide of the net. Platil taken down. No call on that. Passfield with that puck along the far side. Mitchell unable to keep it in. And Kazoris is going to touch that for a offside and a face-off outside the Colts blue line. Joel, the Generals, we were talking about this before we went there. This is a team that this is in their 11th game. And so far, their first 10 games, 7 of those 10 games have been one-goal games. And unfortunately, they've been on the wrong side of most of those. except for the one in Ottawa the other night where they got their first victory.
You're right. The Generals have had some bad luck so far this year. I mean, I know they went into Friday night's action 0-7-1-1 was their record. Now it stands at 1-7-1-1 with the win on Friday night. They've had some tough games, a lot of one-goal hockey games, only a couple of blowouts, the one against Belleville and the one against Sudbury. Other than that, they've been in every game, just some bad bounces this year.
Generals get back, clear that puck down the ice. This could be an icing call. Power back to touch that up. Number 6, Aaron Power, so a face-off back in the Oshawa Generals zone. And Joel, we talked about in the last broadcast we did here, a very young team, and we talked about confidence, and confidence is a very crucial thing in the game of hockey or any sport. And with a young team like the Generals, when you're losing those one-goal games, and a lot of those one-goal games were games that it's like they found a way to lose rather than even get the tie or a victory. And we look back at the Kingston game a week ago Friday night. Although they didn't lose it, they had a 3-1 lead with 1:06 to go. They end up in a tie. Last Sunday night they're in North Bay. They're up 2-0 with 12 minutes to go in the third. They lose that game 3-2. This is a team looking for an identity, I would think, at this point in the season.
Yeah, it's what seems to happen is they look for bad things to happen in the third period. They're winning and they sort of look at themselves and say, what's going on here? Why are we winning? And they end up finding bad things happening, and that's how they've been losing hockey games. But they seem to have some confidence tonight and Friday night.
Rupneff back to the point. Hedberg fakes a shot, then gets it in. Played out in front. Oh, and Plunkett tied up. Spence comes in off the point. Oh, and that shot just directed wide off the stick of Finley. Judaziski in there to pick up that puck, tries to get it off the glass. It's knocked down with a high stick. One of the Oshawa Generals knocked it down, so that'll bring the face-off outside the blue line. But another close call there around the Barrie Colts net.
What a great pinch by Richard Spence on that play. You could see that what was about to happen. They were buzzing around the goal, and as the puck was about to get back into the slot area, there was no one around, so Richard Spence decides to pinch in here. You'll see him come into your screen from the point. And Vladimir Repnev ends up dropping back for his defenseman. That's just a pretty smart play by the Oshawa native Richard Spence.
2:48 to go here in the first period. The Oshawa Generals up on the Barrie Colts 2-0. Colts with that puck, try to clear it out. The Generals there to intercept. Kazoris now to Cullen. He gets a shot right on, picks up his own rebound. Oh, and he tries to go for the 5-hole. Looked like he had it, and Finley just closed him in time. Got a little bit of rough stuff now at the side of the net. But I thought Brandon Cullen had his 5th goal of the season there, Joel.
It looked like he had the 5-hole pick, but Brian Finley's a type of goaltender that can close that up in a real hurry. We're seeing Healy in there, some pushing and shoving going on, but everybody's going to skate away from that one as cooler heads prevail. Brandon Cullen was as close as can be to scoring his 5th of the year on this particular play. Watch the 5-hole close up right there. Finley says, no way, I'm shutting the door, and that's a pretty good save by the Colts goaltender.
So the Generals may be outshot at this point. 16-11.
Bill Prisniak in a bit of a shouting match now with Platil and O'Keefe of the Barrie Colts, the defenseman. Bud Stefanski tried to get a late line change in there, and as you know, the visiting team does not get the last line change. So Prisniak sends them off.
Generals get him. Mitchell takes a shot right on. Finley, an easy stick save. Oh, another shot right on. Kazoris unable to put it behind Finley. Generals with some good pressure of their own right now. Back in their own zone. Mitchell plays it up for Kazoris out of his reach. Picked up there by Blaine Down, and he'll play it in off the stick of Byvelds. Mitchell goes behind his own net. He's stripped of the puck. Passfield in there. Then Mitchell takes the puck away from him. Gets back to the point. Ryan O'Keefe winds up. That's blocked. Cullen with the direct path right up the middle, trying to break through. Cullen being hooked and taken to the ice, and we've got the arm up. And there's going to be a call here. I know the fans would dearly love to see a penalty shot, but no clear-cut breakaway on that one, Joel.
No, Brandon Cullen not necessarily known for his speed, and he couldn't really get a step on the defenders on that particular play, but he was hauled to the ice. Bill Prisniak, on the other hand, was caught all the way back in the Oshawa Generals zone, so he had a long line of vision to make that call, and I think the fans maybe helped out a little bit, wondering why he hadn't made it sooner.
Jam Platil, the guilty party, is going off. 1:58 to go here in the first period. The Oshawa Generals, a great opportunity to make it 3-0 before this first period comes to an end. You see the referee caught way down the ice, as you were talking about there, Joel, on the replay. Face off to the left of Brian Finley. Colin Repneff and Plunkett out on the forward lines with Hedberg and Mitchell back on the points on this power play. Generals win. Mitchell goes to Hedberg. Hedberg winds up, gets a shot right on, and Finley there to cover up. Some more pushing and shoving in front of the net. And of course, Joel, we know there's no love lost between these two teams, but a lot of the combatants from the past couple of years have now vacated the Barrie Colts team.
Yeah, true story. A lot of the Quinty Fours we talked about. I just want to talk about this replay first. What a great scoring opportunity for the Oshawa Generals. Picture perfect the way you would want things to happen. Brandon Cullen won the faceoff extremely cleanly, got it back to the point where the shot came in and the forwards buzz around for the rebound. Back to your original thought. You're right, a lot of the guys are gone. Sheldon Keefe is gone, Ryan Barnes, Mike Jefferson. Brian Passmore was involved in that melee last year as a member of the Oshawa Generals in the infamous stick-swinging incident on October 3rd of '99. A lot of those guys have moved on now, and I think the rivalry between these two teams is starting to fizzle out just a little bit.
That puck shot down the ice in off the glove of Dolson into the corner. Hedberg in to pick it up. A minute 42 in the penalty, a minute 39 here in the first. Hedberg falls, but he manages to get the pass away to Plunkett. Plunkett down on the left side, winds up, fires it into the Colts zone. Cullen trying to get to a loose puck. Reeds in the corner. Plunkett there to intercept that, clearing attempt. Plunkett plays it behind the net, played out in front. Cullen with some good work there to get that puck out front, but no red shirts there to pounce on that opportunity, and the Colts play it down the ice. Judziski in there puts a good hit on Mitchell. Judziski trying to tie up that loose puck, but Plunkett now comes in to pick it up, and he'll work his way out. Hedberg now with that puck for the Generals over the blue line. Far side, stops at the circle. He's at the half boards, gets the shot on, but Finley with an easy save, and the Colts will pick that up and clear it down the ice as we're under a minute to go here in the first period. Kevin Mitchell back to pick it up. Knutson doing some forechecking. Bit of a lackadaisical pass off the boards there. Fails to find its mark, and Hedberg has to retreat. Hedberg being watched by Knutson there. Hedberg wants to be careful. Certainly don't want to give the Colts an opportunity here. Walford plays that puck back to Kolda. Kolda starts out on the far side. Healy with that puck now in over the line. Healy tries to play it out front. That's blocked back to Spence at the point. He gets a shot on and a great pad save there by Finley to keep the score 2-0. Dolson out of his net to hold that puck up for Spence. Spence now slowly out of his own zone as time is winding down quickly here in the first period, and the buzzer goes to end. Joel, a very good first period of play here for the Oshawa Generals as they break out in front of the Barrie Colts 2-0.
Very good period for the Generals and fairly entertaining for the fans, I would suggest, and there are a lot of them here tonight in comparison to the first couple of games that we did on OHL Prime Time. The Generals have to be happy with the 2-0 lead at this point. Pressure went back and forth, but at the end of it all, the shots on goal are tied at 16 apiece. The Generals are ahead on the scoreboard where it counts 2-0. I think George Burnett is extremely happy with what his team's done this past weekend. Well,
it's amazing, you know, you get a win under your belt in Ottawa, and that's a tough barn to play in at any time, and the Generals know that. So that win there, coupled with the start they've got here tonight, bodes well for them. We'll see what happens, but we invite you to stay tuned for Shawn Lackie and his guest number 11, Lindsey Plunkett of the Oshawa Generals. You're watching OHL Prime Time live on Rogers Television.
Welcome back. We're joined by one of the new faces on this year's Generals team, Lindsey Plunkett. Pretty quick pace to that first period.
Yeah, that was a fast pace out there. Barrie's got a lot of small, good skill guys and great skaters. So we had to come out and work hard to keep up with their pace, and it seemed pretty fast out there to start.
You guys seem to have gotten the piano off your back with that win Friday night over Ottawa, and it seems to be carrying over into this game.
Yeah, definitely that was huge for our confidence. We've had a lot of close game, one-goal game, so it's great to get that off our back and get some confidence and come in and work hard again tonight and see what we can do.
On a personal note, how's the adaptation been for you coming over to Oshawa from Guelph? Obviously the folks are a little closer in Fowler's Corners.
Yeah, it's great for my parents, and not only that, George is a great coach. I played for my first year when we played in the Memorial Cup, and he knows a lot, and he's got a lot of experience, so he wanted me to come in and help the experience out, and I know we're off to a slow start, but I think things will pick up rapidly as we go on here.
Big off season for you, or second sports season for you, if you will. You were part of a Minto Cup winner with Burnaby. Talk a little about that.
Yeah, that was a great experience. Obviously, for my experience just playing sports, I don't really have an off season. I'm playing kind of all year round, but it's just a sacrifice we made. I got the chance to play for Burnaby, and we won the Minto Cup, so I had a great time, a great experience.
Drafted by Rochester as well?
Yeah, I got drafted just recently by the Rochester Nighthawks, and I'm thrilled. Maybe that'll work for me sometime later on in my career, and we'll see what happens.
Another highlight must have been for you having your younger brother in training camp. Jamie joined you with the Generals in training camp this year.
Yeah, I didn't get to play with him, but I got to practice him with a couple times, and that was a big thrill for my parents, definitely. I think it was great to have him around, and we had a lot of fun.
Great. Thanks for doing this, Lindsey, and good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
We've been joined by Lindsey Plunkett, one of the newest faces on the Oshawa Generals. Speaking of the Oshawa Generals, I caught up earlier with Bud Stefanski. He has a history with this club, used to play here, used to coach here. Now he has a son playing here. We're joined by Bud Stefanski, the head coach of the Barrie Colts. Belated congratulations, but it must be kind of great for you to take over the Colts.
It really is. You know, after the great year we had last year, and with Bill moving on, it was an opportunity for me to get my foot in the door and see what I can do in the OHL.
Let's talk a little bit about last year. I mean, that was sort of like a dream season for the Colts, OHL champs, Mem Cup appearance. It must have been a great time. It
was. You know, we had a lot of off-ice controversy, but it was just a tremendous, group of kids that really hung together and played together as a team. And, fortunately, we were able to come out on top in Game 7 in Plymouth.
So you have all the changeover in personnel. I see a bunch of different names that are gone, new names on the roster. I look at the Central Division standings, and who's at the top of the heap? Barrie Colts. How are you doing it?
Well, we knew coming into the season with the two goaltenders we had coming back, with the 4 or 5 defensemen who were back from last year's Memorial Cup, that we would be, competitive as long as we could score some goals. And fortunately, some of our kids have really stepped up. We've had great leadership from guys like Blaine Dow, Matt Dizhizitsky, Michael Henderson have just been tremendous as our 2 OAs. And once confidence, you get confidence. We just keep on rolling.
Talk a little bit about the Oshawa Generals, your past here. I mean, there's a history here. I guess a generation ago you played for the club, you coached the club here. Now you got a son playing for the club. How do you feel about that?
I'm really quite proud of Shawn. He came into camp this year, and with the change of management, he was, virtually unknown other than maybe perhaps the name. And I think he worked hard. He wasn't penciled in, and he comes to play every night. So I'm quite proud of the way what he's done this year so far.
You must be a man of torn allegiances. I'm sort of referring to your plight as like the Ontario version of the Bermuda Triangle, living in Peterborough, coaching in Barrie, and now you got a son playing in Oshawa.
It does make it interesting. You go back, and I did interview a couple times for the Pete's job, and then they overlooked me. So it's always nice to come back, and it was rewarding last year to come back and win the OHL championship, and we'll hopefully can do the same again this year.
Bud, thanks very much for doing this.
Great, thanks very much.
We've been joined by Bud Stefanski, head coach with the Barrie Colts. Quick tempo in this one, and a close score too. It's Oshawa 2, Barrie nothing at the end of 1. Come on back for more.
Well, Joel, the Oshawa Generals came out in that first period, applied some early pressure, but then the Barrie Colts kind of came back and took it to them for a little while in that first period.
Well, that's true. Just when you thought that things were switching over to the Barrie Colts, I mean, the Generals came out for the first 3 minutes. They were up 5-0 shots on goal. Next thing you know, Barrie turns it around. They're up 7-5 shots on goal. But then the Generals end up getting the first goal of the period and the hockey game, so they took the momentum back with that.
Well, we'll see that coming up here in the highlights. And this is a nice goal by Vladimir Repnev. This is the shot out from Hedberg. And you'll see Repnev pick up that loose puck right in front, and Finley no chance.
You talk about playing the game plan to perfection. On that particular play, Brad Walford, who the Generals picked up this past Thursday, I believe, from the North Bay Centennials, wins the faceoff cleanly, gets it back to Hedberg. The shot from the point is stopped by Finley. You expect that, but you also expect somebody to be there for the rebound. Vladimir Repnev was, and he made a pretty good move to get the puck past him.
Well, 31 seconds later, the Generals go up 2-0 on a nice goal by Ben Reeder. And Reeder now is really starting, or Ben Eager, I should say, is really starting to show why he's the top pick of the Generals.
Yeah, you expect this sort of thing from your first-round draft pick, and the Generals picked up Ben Eager in the first round for a reason. They saw some signs of brilliance from him last year with the, I believe it was the Valley East Bantams that he played for. Eager comes in this year. It looks a little bit tentative for the first few games. Fully expected from your first-round pick from a Bantam age player, somebody who's underage in the league, but then he starts to build confidence as the year goes on, and I would expect by the end of this season and into next season, he'd be a force to be reckoned with in the OHL.
You're right. Now, we see the Generals out in front to a 2-0 lead, something that they are unaccustomed to this year early in the OHL season. What can they do to make sure that they maintain this? I mean, they've got to play a full 60 minutes of hockey. There's no doubt about that. But they have found ways before to throw a lead away.
Yeah, we've seen the Generals improve since the season started. I mean, we saw the 5-1 loss to Belleville, 7-2 loss to the Sudbury Wolves. Other than that, we talked about this during the period. It's been all one-goal hockey games. Last weekend, they got out to 2-0 starts. One against the Kingston Frontenacs, one against the North Bay Centennials. They ended up blowing both of those games. They settled for a tie in Kingston, and they lost the North Bay game. What they wanted to start figuring out how to do is to play the full 60 minutes, and they did that on Friday night against the Ottawa 67s this weekend. So they're starting to learn how to play the full 60 minutes now.
Well, this was a late 2-on-1 rush for the Generals in the first period, and we'll see the shot here from Cullen as he winds up. And as we've seen before, Brandon Cullen has a howitzer when he gets the time to let it go.
Sure he does, and the Barrie defender had gotten a little piece of that. I think if Cullen had a smaller windup, he may have gotten the shot away quicker and had a better chance of getting the puck on the net, but it was a pretty good opportunity for the Generals, and Brandon Cullen has created a lot of scoring chances early this year.
Well, again, the score here at the end of the first period, the Oshawa Generals 2, the Barrie Colts no score. We'll be right back. Well, we'd like to welcome everybody back to the OHL Game of the Week here on Rogers Television. Tonight, the game coming to you from the Oshawa Civic Auditorium. And as we get ready to start the second period, the Oshawa Generals in front of the Barrie Colts, 2-0.
Talk about the Oshawa Generals and their start to this hockey game. Everybody has to be happy with it, from Derek Dolson, the goaltender, all the way to head coach George Burnett and fans here in attendance. The Generals played a very solid period against this first place Central Division leading Barrie Colts team. They're up now by a score of 2-0, and that's exactly what they wanted to do. Come out here, quick start, and then play with a lead, something that they haven't done in front of the hometown fans very often this year.
Shots even 16 apiece at the end of that first period, Joel, and I would have to say that the Generals very opportunistic on the chances that they did have.
I thought so. There were a couple of times where Brian Finley made pretty good saves to stop the Generals, but there were those chances that, you know, you expect the goal scorers to score. You expect Vladimir Repnev to get that rebound and put it into the back of the net. He did that. You expect, you know, Brad Walford to win those important face-offs. In my opinion, that's why George Burnett brought him here, although we haven't even spoken to George Burnett about that. It happened so recently, but, you know, in my opinion, that's why they brought Brad Walford here, was to win face-offs. He's a left wing slash centerman. The Generals lacked a solid center iceman. George Burnett recognizes that and gets another one to play on the second, third line. And Brad Walford has done a pretty good job for the Generals so far. 3 assists in his first 2 games so far.
You certainly can't ask for more than that. I mean, the assists are important as the goals, and Walford is certainly contributing as a very recent member of the team. And Joel, you have some announcement here on the Oshawa Generals?
Well, the Oshawa Generals are a team, as you know, that is playing some exciting hockey this year. They're not at the top of the standings like we'd like to see them. But the marketing department has introduced something a little bit new this year, a 5-game ticket package that they've got going on. And what that means is for a set price, you can buy tickets to 5 different games. And it's available until October the 28th of this year, because that's when the package starts. It's a game October 28th, November 7th, 17th, 24th, and December 5th. A package of 5 games for a relatively low price. So contact the ticket office if you'd like to get in on that. And I'll just quickly give you the phone number for the ticket office. It is 728-5163.
Play underway here in the second period. Plunkett was taken down with a heavy check as he let that shot go. And that got up over the net and over the glass at the north end. Actually looked like Finley may have just got a piece of it off the shaft of the stick. So play, as we said, just underway here in the second period. Walford in against Down on the face-off in the Colts zone. Generals unable to keep it in. Mitchell has to retreat back to center. Mitchell plays it back up through the middle, but Ryan O'Keefe there for the Colts. He'll play it off the boards, and the Generals there to intercept. Down now at center. He'll just play it into the General zone. Mitchell unable to break free, and that's going to be offside as Passfield was unable to clear the zone in time.
We've yet to hear the announced crowd, but as far as the noise is concerned, it's been noisier here than we've heard over the first couple of games that we've done on OHL Prime Time here at the Civic Auditorium. We're seeing the Go Gens Go signs. That's exciting to see. A lot of people in attendance here having a good time doing the YMCA.
You're right, Joel. Certainly one of the better crowds that we've seen in attendance here at the Civic Auditorium so far this season. And you know, it's amazing what a win or two will do for a team and the fan support, because you know they'll always support a winning team. As the Generals break out, Kazoris in with Cullen. Kazoris gets the shot away. Cullen goes to the net. Finley there to steer it into the corner. Branham plays it up along the boards for Henderson. He retreats, plays it behind his net for Aaron Power. Power out on the far side, but Hedberg there to intercept that. Hedberg now back into his own zone. Plays it out to center. The Colts there to intercept. Branham plays it up through the middle. Misfires on that. This could be an icing call. John Hedberg gets back to touch it up, and that'll be an icing call against the Colts, and that'll bring it all the way back into the Barrie zone. 18:46 to go here in the second period. The Generals in front of the Colts, 2-0 on our OHL Prime Time Game of the Week.
Generals have taken an ever so slight edge as far as shots on goal are concerned. 17-16 now for the Generals, and here's number 17 that they get. Of course, Brian Finley was equal to the challenge on that particular shot. Brian Finley, as I mentioned, considered one of the best junior hockeys in the entire world. I would expect to see him at the World Juniors again, representing Canada this year when they head for that, the Christmas time tournament.
Play in the Colt zone. Play just underway here in the second period. Whalen plays it deep back in. Sean Stefanski out there in there to pick up that puck. Stefanski not very big, but he does have good wheels under him, and he's got a lot of heart. Of course, he comes by that honestly. Whalen into the corner trying to do some forechecking. Tanute taken down. Wellman able to get the puck deep into the general zone. Fraser goes back to pick it up, and I believe this is an icing call against the Barrie Colts. So a lot of whistles early here in the second period. Joel?
Yeah, it's been a little bit slow for the first minute or so. As you look at some of those fans in attendance here at the Civic Auditorium tonight. That kid has got zero rhythm. Not even close to what the song is doing.
Obviously, he went to the Joel Gallant School of Rhythm.
No.
Face off to the right of Brian Finley. Kazoris wins the face-off, but Eager unable to pick up that puck, and we've got Cullen mixing it up. Judziski back to pick it up. He'll go cross ice for Branham, and he's taken down by Cullen. Another solid hit on the far side. I do like this Ben Eager fella. He's a good, young, solid hockey player.
We talked about this in the first period, Ben Eager. I mean, he just seems to be gaining more confidence as every game goes on, and this is what I was getting at when we did our summary, is that you sort of expect that from an underage pick, a guy who was drafted as a Benham into the Ontario Hockey League. You expect him to have a little bit of a rough go for the first part of the season and then start to pick up some confidence and gain that composure. And now you watch Ben Eager play. He's scored 2 goals now in the past 2 games, and he's out there throwing a lot of big checks, using his size to his advantage.
Barrie win the draw and shoot it down the ice into the general zone. Hedberg back there, he's all by himself. He'll pick it up, wind it around. Actually tried to get it off the boards, hit the side of the net, but the General's in there to recover. John Kazoris now at center with that puck in over the Barrie blue line. He's out there with Cullen and Eager. Colts break that up. Branham center played in, and the Kazoris there to take the pass from Cullen. Kazoris going in, Richard Spence in on the play, and that shot is steered away by Finley, and the Colts clear it back down the ice on a good 2-on-1 play there by the Oshawa Generals, and Richard Spence in unfamiliar territory. Repneff winds up with a shot that just drifts wide of the net. Plunkett in there to try and pick it up. Walford now into the corner. Taken down with a good solid hit. Repneff taken off the puck in there by Reitz. Cole unable to keep it in on the far side, and Blaine Down tries to break free, but Cole does a good job to tie him up. Repneff back in over the blue line. He's taken down on a check by Reitz. Plunkett in the far corner to try and pick it up for the Generals, and O'Keefe has him tied up. Bad clearing attempt there, picked up by the Generals. Repneff, his pass in for Plunkett, fails to find the mark. Down takes a bit of a hit from Plunkett along the sideboards. Plunkett back in to pick it up. Down tries to repay the visit there on that check. Passfield unable to pick up that pass cleanly. The Colts breaking in 2-on-1 on that. High shot by Passfield, nowhere near the mark. Puck all the way back down the ice. Patil back to pick it up. Tanute just knifes it out the center. Mitchell there to clear it back into the Colts zone. Tanute on the far side. Generals get it back to the point to Fraser. He gets the shot through, but it's blocked in front. Fraser had to vacate the zone and was unable to get it in deep. Tobias Whalen now with that puck at center for the Generals, plays it off the boards. And a quick whistle on the far side for a face-off, and that'll be right in front of the Generals bench. 15:40 to go here in the second period. The Generals in front of the Colts 2-0.
Got a chuckle at the Generals bench. The 3 hits in succession right in front of the bench, and all 3 times Joe Cirella was almost hit by a stick. He had to throw his arms up and protect his head on the play. And he's used to that, of course,
I'm
behind
sure
the
he can
Oshawa
do
Generals
that.
bench. You know, Bob, I agree or disagree, we're looking at a totally different Oshawa Generals team as far as systems are concerned and playing the style of game they need to play. The transition game through the neutral zone and coming out of their own zone is 100 times better than it was at the beginning of the year. They look like they're a team that's finally starting to figure out what they have and what they can do with it.
Well, they're finally starting to buy into George Burnett's system, and that shot wide of the net there by Patil. Ricochets all the way back down the ice into the Barrie Colts zone. Aaron Power back to pick it up. That pass misfires, gets all the way down the ice. This could be an icing call. Fraser's being pressured, but he gets back to... I thought Fraser touched that puck up, but obviously the Barrie Colts player, Tanute, got in there to negate that icing call, and that deflection right on Dawson, and he's going to hold that as Passfield's in there snooping around for a loose puck.
Pushing and shoving.
Well, that's Wellman, I should say.
You know, we talk about this team and what they have and what they can do with it. This is what I was talking about moments ago. They're a team that doesn't have that big goal scorer. They don't have the superstar quality, but they're a team that can win hockey games if they're able to play the simple game and you know, do well with what they have. And it seems like they're figuring that out here tonight, although they look very sharp going through the neutral zone. This is what I was talking about. They're moving the puck up ice with relative ease. They're not having as much trouble penetrating the offensive zone as they seem to in the first maybe 5 or 6 games of the year. They've really come along that way.
Collins steps in to pick up that pass back to the point by the Colts. Repnev gets in, but that shot deflects high into the rafters. Actually ends up in the net behind Finley. I guess that's what you call using the hometown rink to your advantage, Joel.
Off of the
it's
rafters.
Not going to count, but they tried it.
Through the rafters, off of the
okay.
radio press
Mr.
box.
Gretzky. Face off in the Barrie zone. Judaziski in against Kazoris. Colts pick up the puck, clear at the center. Spence on the far side, gets it back down in the Colts zone. Branham will have to retreat and pick that up. He's out there with O'Keefe back on the blue line. Henderson, that pass up through center. Kazoris there to break that up. Generals, as you mentioned, Joel, very solid through the neutral zone tonight. Cullen just a bit over anxious on trying to break through there, but very good at covering up in the neutral ice area tonight. This is a totally different team than the one I saw play here the last time against, I believe it was Toronto.
Yeah, the last time we did an OHL Prime Time broadcast. But I mean, watching the team on the road and that, you can see the gradual improvement. But seeing them here tonight after not being with the team in Ottawa on Friday night, of course we saw that game live here in the Durham area on Rogers Television, and it's a little tougher to pick up on TV. But when you see the play develop from their own zone up, they really are moving through the neutral zone with general ease. They're passing the puck well, and they're not getting caught offside so much. That one that we just saw was the first real miscue that we saw tonight, but they're passing the puck well through the neutral zone and moving it up ice, like they've developed some sort of breakout that works for a change.
Walford in over the blue line. He's stripped to the puck. Blaine down there to pick it up. Generals recover in the neutral zone. Cole, and now his pass fails to find the mark. Walford. Mitchell up with some good forechecking. He'll play the puck just into the Barrie Colts end. Play at center. Plunkett plays it back in, and Walford unable to get out, so it'll be a face-off in the neutral ice area. 13:58 to go here in the second period. The Generals in front of the visiting Barrie Colts, 2-0. Want to welcome all our viewers on the Rogers Television Network across the province tonight, Joel.
Absolutely. And look who it is in attendance tonight. Robert G. Orr watching the Generals, and of course some of the players that he has under his umbrella of agency, or whatever you would call it, with Wolf Associates.
A hockey player of moderate reputation, would you say?
Especially in the Durham area.
Puck tied up at the side of the net there by Derek Dolson. He holds that long enough for a face-off.
I'm surprised of two things with Mr. Orr tonight. One, that he's sitting in the seating area and not in the press box, and two, that he doesn't have about a gazillion people crowded around him. I think the Durham fans are pretty respectful. When Mr. Orr comes to the games, they let him watch the game, and then in the intermissions, usually they line up and get some autographs.
Well, I know he just usually loves to get into the press box, Joel, with you and I, because he knows what great fellas that you and I are, and we don't bother him up here.
Well,
well, at least I am. I don't know about you.
I don't know if that's why he sits up here or not. Maybe it is.
Colden now with that puck for the Generals back in his own zone, and Hedberg, or that's Mitchell, just able to get it out to center ice. Repneff unable to pick up that puck. Reeds along the boards now. Passfield plays it into the General zone, and Plunkett goes back to pick it up. Plunkett now circles out on the far side, plays it off the boards, picks up his own pass. Plunkett still with that puck, plays it for Walford. Walford tries to get the shot through. He's taken to the ice. Puck out at center. The Generals there to pick up that clearing attempt. Cold will play it back in, and that'll signal a change for the Generals. Tobias Whalen in there doing some forechecking. Power plays that puck out on the far side. Cullen there, or Healy there to intercept that pass. Ranger goes cross ice for Fraser. Reach now with that puck for the Colts. Will play it off the boards at center. Backerlick in there with that puck now. He's coming in with Tanute. Oh, and a good play there by the Oshawa defenseman to intercept that pass across. That was young Paul Ranger, I believe, number 26, playing his position to perfection on that play to block that pass across. Puck in on the boards. General's able to clear it out to center. O'Keefe there now goes cross ice for Platil. He has to hold up as Brenner was inside the blue line. Fraser now on the far side plays it back to center. Healy unable to get to it in time. Ranger now with his own blue line, coughs up the puck inside his own zone. Dolson there to make that save as that shot comes in. A bit of roughing at the side of the net there. The Generals maybe a little over rambunctious on that play. They don't want to take any unnecessary penalties.
Paul Ranger with a bit of a miscue at his own blue line on that particular play, and we saw Paul Ranger involved in two plays in the last turn of events. One, a very good one, where, as you mentioned, playing his position to perfection, but the second, maybe a little bit of a mix-up. It looks like we're going to have some roughing penalties, at least one to the Oshawa Generals, and it's probably for Ryan Fraser's work right here.
You're right, it is. Ryan Fraser, number 4, going off for some roughing, a little overzealous on that play, and that's the type of things, Joel, when you're a fragile team, you've got a 2-0 lead, you certainly don't want to give the opposition any kind of an opportunity to get back in the game. And taking a bit of a needless penalty, shall we say, sometimes gives the opposition just that chance.
There's ways to let guys know not to crash the crease without actually pulling your fist back and getting it in the other player's face. There's ways to give him a little shove or sort of forcefully move him out of there, but Ryan Fraser got a little bit overzealous there, as you mentioned, and now the Generals will have to kill off a 2-minute penalty.
Well, they didn't drop the puck square fairly, so they'll do it all over again. And Joel, this period started out with 16 shots apiece. Certainly been a lack of offense in this second period, as both teams have only had 2 shots so far, and we're almost 9 minutes into the second period. Barrie Colts now on a power play out the center for Henderson. Henderson in the far corner tries to play it back to the point to Power, to reach back to Power. Power gets the shot through, and Dawson's there. He had a clear vision of that one all the way in, and he's going to hold that for a face-off.
We haven't seen the Generals working very much on the penalty kill tonight. The one time that we saw it in the first period, it ended up being nullified, I believe, maybe 25 or 30 seconds into it. So the Generals didn't have to kill the whole thing off, and now here they are basically killing their first penalty of the hockey game almost 9 minutes into the second period. That's not too bad.
Certainly not used to seeing so few penalties called on a game between Barrie and Oshawa, Joel.
Yeah, and it's a little disturbing perhaps that their building is so full tonight when the Barrie Colts come to town, and that's just the type of thing that fans like to see. Either that or maybe they want to see if things have gotten any calmer between the two teams. How's that?
Sounds good to me. Down in on the face-off for the Colts, wins that face-off. Judziski along the half boards, back to the point to Power. Power goes cross ice, unable to keep it in on the far side. There was Wellman, I believe. Number 15, Branham, that was. Generals having a little trouble picking that puck up in their own zone. The Colts get on top of it. Back to the point to Branham. He plays it into the corner. Puck on the far half boards. Back to Branham at the point. Branham winds up. That shot well wide of the net. Judziski plays it back into the corner. Down now, back to the point to Power. Down in front of the net, gets the shot away, and that looked like, I'm not sure if that hit the stick or hit the post, Joel.
I don't know how that stayed out. You couldn't see through the defenseman, but I think the Gens got lucky on that one.
Branham takes a pass from Henderson. That shot well wide of the net. Henderson on the near half boards. Somebody's out there with a busted stick. Puck loose in front of the net. Plunkett in there to pick it up, and he'll get it out and down the ice. 29 seconds to go on that penalty to Fraser. Colts start out of their own zone, led by Aaron Power. He's up to the red line. He backhands it deep into the General zone, and Dolson out of his net to play it around in the corner. Branham in off the far boards, plays it behind the General's net. Colta there to pick it up. And I'm not sure what this is unless the net is off its moorings, as it's signaled by the linesman. And I wouldn't exactly say this is mission impossible to put those nets back on in the moorings, would you, Joel? Now, how's that for working that into the song, eh?
That's pretty good. Mission Impossible, one of the fan favorites. Maybe they're talking about the Barrie Colts coming back in this hockey game. As far as the fans are concerned, the Generals seem to have some pretty good pressure on them. I would suggest that the game is far from over. 10:09 to go in the second period. Oshawa with a 2-goal lead and out-shooting Barrie, or I should say being outshot by Barrie, 20-18.
Generals trying to pick up that loose puck. Kazoris unable to clear the zone. Cleared out on a second attempt by Pat Montgomery, and we certainly haven't seen too much of Pat Montgomery on the ice tonight, Joel, number 14.
We haven't, only on the penalty kill, in fact, if memory serves correctly. The first time we saw him was in the first period on that short-lived penalty kill that the Generals had, and now out here again in the second.
Generals kill off that penalty as Mitchell brings it in over the blue line. Mitchell going to the net, plays it out in front. Oh, and that's off the stick of Kazoris into the corner. Colts pick it up, clear it off the boards. Colta now for the Generals, back at center, plays it back into Mitchell behind his own blue line. Colta takes a return pass up to Kazoris in the center ice area. Kazoris steps over center, fires it in, and that'll get a change for the Generals. Ryan O'Keefe now for the Colts, deep in his own zone, plays it for Tanut. His pass picked up at center by Repneff, but he couldn't control. And the Colts play it out to center, and Tanut's taken down on a good check there by Richard Spence. Repneff tries to get it in, but the Generals could be offside. No, it's played back by Plunkett to center. Hedberg at center doing a little bit of stick handling, and that's an ill-advised place to be doing stick handling in the center ice area when there's only one person behind you.
What are you, the coach now?
No, oh, cleared up from wide open net, and Vladimir Repneff makes Brian Finley pay for that mistake.
Finley is not happy about it, but the fans here in Oshawa are happy about it. Wide open net for Vladimir Repneff. If he missed that, they would have to send him back to Russia for good, because that was a not missable play, and Vladimir Repneff makes it happen. Great play by the Generals forward. There it is into the yawning cage. Vladimir Repneff with his second goal of the game. You've got to like this hockey player for the Generals.
They don't get much easier than that, do they, Joel? Even you and I could put it in that wide open net.
Well, I don't know if I could. I'm not very good at this game, as you know, Bob, but Vladimir Repneff is a guy that can. Scores 2 goals for the Generals now. Welcome back to the lineup, Vladdy Repneff.
Well, the Generals now in front 3-0 over the Barrie Colts. And it looks like somebody has called a timeout, and I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if it's Bud Stefanski and the Barrie Colts calling the timeout.
Well, I wouldn't say that the wheels have fallen off for the Barrie Colts
not
or
by
anything
any
like
means.
that. I'm not sure that this was, well, I mean, I'm not going to question Bud Stefanski. He obviously sees something that he would like to rectify with his players at this point, but you know, certainly the action has been back and forth. The Colts are out shooting Oshawa 21-19. It's not like they're being outplayed horribly right now, but he decided that he would call a timeout. We'll take another look at the goal for the Generals, and as we said, it was one of those ones that you really couldn't miss. Brian Finley tries to play the puck here, and then he's caught by Lindsey Plunkett. You know, that may be the unsung hero on the play, Lindsey Plunkett, who just put enough body into Finley to keep him out of the goal area for a couple of seconds.
And you know, Joel, we've seen that play called before for goaltender interference out of the net like that, but Plunkett got away with it, and a smart move by Plunkett, because all he did was just touch him enough to hold him up from getting back into the net. And Repneff had a clear open cage. Healy in on the backhand, and Finley's down to hold that out. Was Stefanski in there looking for a loose puck.
I don't know that you could call that goaltender interference, just going back to the goal that we're talking about, because Finley's skating from behind the net on the board area to get back in front of the goal, and this is not what we're talking about, what we're seeing here. This is the opportunity for the Generals. You see Shawn Stefanski in there. Well, what I'm talking about is Finley was going from the board area to the net. Lindsey Plunkett's just skating through, and they sort of come into each other. I know that Plunkett had other things in mind, and you know that, but you couldn't really call it that way, I don't think. And
it's a mute point anyways. The Generals scored at 3-0.
It sure is. And Bill Prisniak is one of those referees that's been around since forever, and he likes to let the two teams play as much as possible and not call the small stuff.
Hedberg on the far side keeps the puck in, blocked in front of the net. Steered back into the corner by Kazoris. Cullen unable to get a stick away from Power. That shot drifts wide of the net. Montgomery in there tries to play it out front. Power has Montgomery tied up on the far boards, and Power will get it out to center. Good play by Hedberg there to prevent Judaziski from getting away. Reach now takes the pass from Power. Power takes the return pass, gets it out to center. Pass fails to find its mark. Reach steps over center, in over the blue line. Held up at the blue line by Hedberg, but gets the shot through, and that's wide of the net. Montgomery takes one of those solid hits from behind by Judaziski, and Montgomery is livid down here along the near sideboards. He wants a piece of Judaziski. I'll tell you, he was some upset on that play.
Well, the Generals players are there to contain Pat Montgomery, and that's great because they've got a penalty here against Judaziski. The Generals do not want to nullify that by doing anything stupid. You saw Pat Montgomery jump up, and you can understand why he was upset on the play, but at the same time, it's a good thing his teammates were there to say, look, we've got a power play, let's not blow it.
That's one of those dangerous plays where Montgomery is like about 2 feet from the boards. Instead of getting a little closer, we maybe catch it here on the replay coming up. You see it on the left of your screen.
Well, Montgomery does end up with a penalty on the play. It's 4 minutes for boarding to Judaziski, and it looks like it'll be 2 probably for roughing to Pat Montgomery.
He's having a few words on the far side with Judaziski.
Pat Montgomery's upset about it, and Judaziski would argue that he thought Montgomery was turned a little bit, and as you can see here, Montgomery is sort of sideways into the boards. He doesn't see Judaziski coming, and that's his beef on the play.
It really wasn't a hit from behind. He was sideways when he caught him.
Well, it's going to be a boarding call, I believe, and I believe he's getting 4 minutes. You'll see 2 on the board because Montgomery got 2 for roughing, I'm guessing.
So as a result of the penalties, the Generals will have a power play here. 7:46 to go in the second period. The Generals in front of the Barrie Colts, 3-0.
Over comes a second Colts player to serve 2 minutes of the penalty. So the Colts now will be without their captain and one of their top scorers, Matt Judaziski, for 4 minutes, and the Generals will be without Pat Montgomery for a couple of minutes.
So the Generals send out Plunkett, Repneff, and Cullen on the forward unit with Hedberg and Mitchell back on the points. First half of this power play. Mitchell has to retreat as Blaine Down is in doing some forechecking. Down out there with Henderson for the Colts, doing some penalty killing early on here. That pass fails to find its mark. The Colts there to pick it up and clear it back into the General zone. Mitchell with a good move there to get away from Henderson. Mitchell comes in front of his net, works his way up in the neutral ice area, steps up to center, winds it into the Colt zone. Repneff on the far side gets to the puck first. Repneff plays it behind for Cullen. Mitchell back at the point. Hedberg on the far side takes the pass back to Mitchell. Plunkett back to the point to Hedberg. Back to Mitchell. The Generals unable to get a shot through. The Colts doing a good job keeping to the outside. They get in front. Oh, and Plunkett misfires on the shot, and the Colts clear it out to center. Generals doing a good job working around the outside, but unable to get a really good shot away. Mitchell now steps up, fires it into the Colts zone. Repneff on the near boards. Plays it in behind for Plunkett. Repneff takes a return pass. Plunkett now with the puck back to Repneff. Back to the point to Hedberg. Hedberg over to Mitchell. He fakes a shot, actually comes across with a pass, and that's steered in front of the net and cleared away by Mitchell, and the Colts will clear the zone. Blaine now down at center, tries to get around Hedberg. Cullen gets back to take down behind the net. Hedberg now with that puck in his own zone. 25 seconds to go on that penalty. So far the Generals have not had a shot on Finley during this penalty. Cullen into the corner with that puck. tied up by Power. Repneff plays it back to Cullen. Cullen comes off the boards, tries to get it across in front, but the Colts are there to intercept and play it back out the center. Mitchell back to pick it up to Kolda. Kolda misses the check, has the puck in his own zone. That pass fails to find the mark. It's cleared back into the Barrie zone off the stick of Tanute. Penalty now over to the Barrie Colts, so they survive that. The Generals had an opportunity there to increase that lead. Stefanski takes a hit there from Reitz. Spence now on the far side for the Generals with that puck. Plays it off the boards back to center. Whalen there to pick it up, and he got his head up just in time as Power had him lined up. Bakerlick now with that puck at center, tries to get around Spence. Spence takes him down. No call there by Prisniak. This could be a Stefanski now in over the blue line. He's on a Lone Ranger rush. Gets the shot away, but that's blocked in front of the net. That shot off the stick of Whalen fails to find the mark as he takes a bit of a glove in the face. Spence now at center, stripped of the puck. Bakerlick going in. We've got a 3-on-2. Oh, and that deflected shot goes off the outside of the net. Dolson got the legs spread. The net pass back to the point, jumps over O'Keefe's stick and gets back into the Colt zone. Generals a bit fortunate there, Joel.
Absolutely, the Generals were fortunate on that play, and I wanted to get my 2 cents in about the power play that the Generals had. I don't think they were completely disappointed with it because they had very good puck movement on it, and you know they would have liked to have gotten a few more shots, obviously, but now it seems like Barrie's got some good pressure going the other way.
Barrie with the puck deep in the General zone. Puck along the boards. Brenner plays it back into the corner in behind Dolson. Fraser now on the far side for the Generals will get it up to Plunkett, and they'll get it out to center ice. Plunkett over center just fires it into the Colt zone. Repneff in to do some forechecking. Plunkett being tied up by Wales in the corner. Platil in there for the Colts trying to tie up his man. Repneff behind the net. Plunkett comes in to help him out. Puck lying loose behind the net. Generals with some good forechecking. Now each team taking some turns here with some good forechecking. Passfield out the center. Brenner in over the blue line, drops it, but that's offside at the blue line. And they'll have a face-off outside the Oshawa blue line. 3:32 to go here in the first period. Joel, the Generals in front of the Barrie Colts 3-0.
They have to be happy with what's going on so far. It's a very back-and-forth hockey game as far as pressure goes. The Colts out shooting Oshawa 21-20 at this point, but I think Oshawa's playing a very solid game, perhaps the best that we've seen them play so far this year. And we'll take another look at the Colts opportunity here on Derek Dolson. I think this is, let's see if this is the one that grazes the outside of the post. Generals probably lucky on that play, but I think Dolson did a good job to cut down the angle.
A goal at 11:13 in the second period by Vladimir Repneff, his second of the night, has the Generals in front 3-0 after they build up a 2-0 lead in the first period on 2 goals 31 seconds apart. Kazoris gets that shot wide of the net. Cullen in there now to do some forechecking. Colts pick up the puck in their own zone, get it out to center. Spence there to play it back up to the blue line, eager for Kazoris, but that's out of his reach. Reach takes a pass from Aaron Power, gets it up the center. That's a 2-line pass, as Blaine Down was well ahead of the play, and it looks like we could have a penalty call here. Was there? Looks like Ben Eager's going off.
In behind the play, Ben Eager took Eric Reitz to the ice well after the whistle. And I believe that Bill Prisniak has eyes in the back of his head because I thought he was looking the other way on that one. He may have turned around and saw the innocent party lying on the ice, or he may have saw it out of his... I'm not sure if he did or not, but he made the call. Ben Eager is in the penalty box now for 2 minutes. That's not a very smart penalty to take, I would suggest.
That's the second one in this period the Generals have taken, of what we call the not too intelligent variety, and although they may be up 3-0, you do not want to give this Barrie Colt team, an explosive offensive team, a chance or any opportunity to try and get back in this game. So see if they can kill off this penalty as time winds down here in the second period. Henderson now for the Colts gets it in. Plunkett there to pick it up on the far side. He gets it up to Whalen. Whalen gets a shot away, and Finley has to make a good glove save there. Colts now will try and get out of their own zone, get something organized. Pass on this side for Power, fails to find the mark. Fraser there to pick it up, and he'll play it back down the ice. Branham in over the blue line, holds up at the top of the circle, plays it back to Henderson. Henderson gets the shot away. That puck's flying loose, and Dolson spots that, and he dives out to jump on it and hold that for a face-off with 1:13 left in the penalty to Ben Eager.
You know, I don't think there was any question this year when the season started, or now 10 games into the season, that goaltending was going to be pretty good for the Generals. Derek Dolson made a pretty smart play on that particular play to jump on the loose puck. He and TJ Achetti have been as much as you could possibly ask for the two goaltenders this year. You don't want to say they've been outstanding because the Generals have lost so many games, but I mean, both goaltenders have been solid so far. Neither one can be blamed for any of the losses so far this year.
No, you're right. Goaltending was not one of their weak spots going into the season. We figured it would be offense, and it has for the most part, although lately they are starting to find the range and put a few pucks in the net. Play inside the Oshawa General zone, back to Ryan O'Keefe. He fakes a shot, gets it in, Dolson down and out, but he got the pad and the glove out there, and he robbed Blaine down at the side of the net.
Well, I'd be interested to know who knocked the net off on that particular play. And according to Bill Prisniak, it was Blaine down because he's taken the face-off to the other end of the ice. I thought it was Richard Spence who would come in and knock the net off. I thought the Generals were going to be in a bit of hot water, but you see there, number 9, Blaine down, shaking his head. He must have been the guilty party on the play. A little bit of pressure here in front of Derek Dolson. Watch this particular play. He robs down. Richard Spence knocks the net off, and they blame Blaine down for it. The Generals got away with one there. You could see it as clear as day on that replay. Blaine Down's got an argument on that one.
He does have a white sweater on, doesn't he? And Spence has a red one.
That's right. Not only is the face-off outside the zone, but the Generals probably should have been penalized for that. Richard Spence knocking the net off.
Well, they got away with one there. 59 seconds left in the penalty to Eager. Face-off outside the Generals' blue line. Hedberg now on the backhand, gets it out past O'Keefe. He holds up Kazoris. He gets it cross ice for Whalen. Whalen in over the blue line, winds up and drifts that shot high and wide of the net. Spence back at center, will play it deep back into the Colts zone. Platil back in there to pick it up. He's out there with O'Keefe on the defense on this power play here for the Barrie Colts. Bit of a hook there. I'd have to go 9.9 on the dive, but I guess the judge on the ice doesn't agree with me on that one.
The fans in attendance are in complete concurrence with Robert Benham on that particular play. It looked like a little bit of embellishment. I mean, the hook was certainly there. The hook was there, and the hook slowed up the player in question, but the pirouette at the end probably helped with the call on that play, and Lindsey Plunkett will go off for 2 minutes. Now the Generals find themselves in a little bit of trouble. They'll be short 2 men for 27 seconds here.
Bad time, Joel, in the hockey game, even though you're up 3-0. Late here in the second period, 1:32 to go. 2 men short here for 27 seconds. We'll see it again.
It's tough to blame Plunkett on that one. He tries to slow up the Barrie Colts forward, who adds a little bit to it at the end and gets a pretty good call. So that's a smart play by the Colts forward. The Generals now will have to kill this 2-man disadvantage off for 27 seconds. They send Tobias Whalen out there with John Hedberg and Richard Spence. Now we'll see what the penalty killers are made of.
Colts win the face-off, but they get it outside the Generals' blue line. There was nobody there for the Colts to pick it up. Power now will work his way back up the center, goes cross ice with that pass. Judaziski holds up at the circle on the far side, gets it back to the point. Power back to Branham. His shot blocked by Whalen, and that's the second time tonight, Joel, we've seen him go down. You gotta love this young guy. In the corner on the far side, that shot steered wide of the net. First penalty of the Generals over. Power steps in at the top, gets a shot right on, and Dolson saw that one all the way, and the Generals fans give their team a round of applause.
Tobias Whalen just continues to impress for the Oshawa Generals. A rookie out there on the penalty kill, and he blocks another shot. The second time we've seen him do that tonight. Thankfully this time he wasn't hurt on the play. Take a look at the Colts. The Generals trying to work the triangle, and Derek Dolson gets a good look at this shot. Makes an easy save.
Face off to the left of Derek Dolson. 1:29 left in the penalty to Lindsey Plunkett. Kazoris wins the face-off, and it's fired down the ice by the Generals. Finley has to stop that. A team, Joel, tonight that's playing with more confidence than we've seen in the first 10 games of this year. There's absolutely no doubt about it.
It's amazing what one win will do for a team's confidence. All of a sudden, the Generals playing like they own the place.
And playing against two teams that, Joel, both you and I, no doubt, were skeptical. When you have to go into Ottawa, and then you got Barrie coming in here, that shot, Dolson steers that over top of the net. Down in there to pick it up. We'll finish that thought in a minute. Henderson goes cross ice, down, back to the point to Branham. That shot just fails to find the mark and goes wide of the net. 48 seconds left on that penalty to Plunkett. Colts with some good pressure here. That pass there intercepted and then given away by Fraser at the point. Branham doing good work back on the point. Tudoszewski plays it into the corner. Down comes out of the corner. Tries to go high on the short side. Down there with that puck. Gets it back to the point as the buzzer goes to end the second period. And Joel, the Generals, 28 seconds away from killing off that second minor penalty, and they take a 3-0 lead into the dressing room here in the second intermission.
They're looking very solid so far in this game. They're being outshot 26-23, but that doesn't matter. On the scoreboard where it counts, they're up by a score of 3-0. The Generals are just playing solid hockey. They've killed off a couple of key penalties here in the second period, and they've looked good doing so. They haven't been getting through by the skin of their teeth tonight. They're a very confident hockey team, and that's the first time we've seen it, as you mentioned.
You're right. Well, Ryan O'Keefe, number 2 of the Barrie Colts, will be along with our own Shawn Lackie in the second intermission. You're watching OHL Prime Time live on Rogers Television.
Welcome back. We're joined by Barrie Colts rear guard Ryan O'Keefe. Ryan, pretty physical play there.
Yeah, game's got a little physical. We're trying to get back into it. We're down 3-0, so I mean, picking up the body checking is probably going to help us. They're taking away our speed here, so we got to battle along the boards with them.
What is it about these two teams? I mean, in the short history of the Colts and the long history of the Generals, you two guys hook up and it's like everything hits the fan.
I think it started about 2 years ago when we got knocked out by Oshawa. We were up 3-1. They came back and beat us in Game 7. And with the stuff that happened last year, I mean, with the stick swinging incident, I mean, there's some bad blood. But I mean, hopefully everything stays on the ice and we have a tough game.
This Colt team seems to be fairly resilient. A lot of changeovers in the faces over the offseason. Yet there you are battling for first in the Central.
Yeah, I mean, Bud's our new coach. We lost Bill Stewart, but he was assistant coach last year, so he knows a lot of the systems. We basically carried on what we had last year. And basically just decided to work hard and bring in players that wanted to work hard and keep the same type of systems, but just be a hard-working team and devote ourselves to physical play, use our speed, and don't really change much. But it seems like it's working this year.
How's the transition been to Stefanski's style of coaching?
He's very down to earth. He tells the guys what he wants out of them. And if the guys produce, they play, and if they don't play. So, I mean, guys obviously produce, and we've had a good start for the season.
You've had to shoulder a little bit more of the load as one of the OAs this year, and how do you feel about being a little bit more of a go-to guy than you were before?
I mean, I love it. That's what I wanted ever since I came to Barrie, but I mean, obviously I couldn't because there's players ahead of me, but it's my turn now, and hopefully I can take us back to OHL Championships and the Mem Cup.
Thanks very kindly for doing this, and good luck the rest of the way.
Okay, thanks.
We've been joined by Ryan O'Keefe, one of the defensemen for the Barrie Colts. Earlier, Joel Gallant had a chance to prepare this piece on Blaine Down. He's a Whitby minor hockey product and one of the many in the OHL right now. He's also the third leading scorer on the Colts.
Heading into the 2000-2001 season, the Barrie Colts were unsure as to where their offense was going to come from. After all, gone are the likes of Sheldon Keefe, Ryan Barnes, and Mike Jefferson, members of the famed Quinty Four. But Durham native Blaine Down has put many of those fears to rest, as he has developed into one of the most feared snipers in the Ontario Hockey League.
Well, I feel, I'm a goal scorer. I have a great offensive awareness, and I'm a leader. I try to be a leader by example on the ice and off the ice, and I just try to play my best every night.
Even though Down has speed to burn and has more than enough talent to put the puck in the net on a regular basis, the second-year player knows he has to start taking on a bigger role in the dressing room.
I've set higher expectations this year. I want a certain amount of goals, a certain amount of assists, and I'm just trying to be a leader. I want to learn that the leadership role. I want to know how to lead the guys in the dressing room and on the ice.
Blaine Down has developed into one of the premier goal scorers in the Ontario Hockey League. So good, in fact, that he reminds head coach Bud Stefanski of a player Oshawa fans are plenty familiar with.
Well, Blaine Down is probably one of the most creative players in the league. He's got great lateral movement. He's got great visions on the ice. I compare him somewhat to Mark Savard. He may not be quite as dynamic as Savard, but again, he has a lot of the same qualities. He's got good speed, but not great speed. He's the type of player that can find the open ice, and he's got great hockey instincts.
This is a big season for Down. The NHL draft is fast approaching, and he knows his game could still use some improvement to make himself more desirable to pro scouts. The diminutive forward knows how hard it is for smaller players to make it in the NHL, and he's aware that he has to keep up his offensive pace.
Well, my physical strength is definitely a quality that I need to work on. I feel that the more numbers I put up, the better chance I'll have to get drafted this year. So my main key right now is to score goals.
Although he makes goal scoring look easy, Down doesn't take it for granted. He continues to put in extra work off the ice on a regular basis to ensure that his offense doesn't dry up.
You know, it's a lot of hard work. You think goal scoring is an easy thing, but I mean, I shoot a lot of pucks after and before practice. You work on hitting the net, and you just visualize just scoring the goals.
There's plenty more to Down's game than just scoring goals. I don't think that Coach Stefanski hasn't taken notice.
I think in the defensive zone, he's probably our best centerman down low, below the goal line, because he angles so well, he competes so well, and again, that he just gives you 100% every time he's out there.
Although this is Down's second year in the league, he hasn't yet had a chance to play at the Civic Auditorium, and he's chomping at the bit for a chance to play in front of some of his hometown fans.
It's a pretty exciting feeling, you know. I got a lot of family they're going to the game, and I've never really played in Oshawa. I was injured last year, so I haven't really had my chance to show my family and some of my friends that don't watch me play how good I can really play.
Reporting from the Molson Center in Barrie, Rob Leth, OHL This Week.
Generals picking up where they left off Friday night. They lead 3-0 after 2. Back in a couple with Bob and Joel.
Well, Joel, the Barrie Colts outshot the Oshawa Generals 10-7 in that second period, but Vladimir Repnev counted where it counts the most, and that's on the scoreboard.
Yeah, and it was a pretty easy one for Repnev to put in, as you know, but all of them count. And as far as the shots on goal are concerned, I thought the pressure went back and forth in that one. In the end, obviously, Barrie had the edge as far as the shots were concerned, but you know, pretty good job by the Generals. I thought they're staying with this Central Division leading Barrie team, and they're looking good doing it too. They're looking very confident.
You're right. Now, I'm sure if we could see underneath Brian Finley's mask on this play, and we'll see it coming up here on an innocent shoot-in. Finley comes out of the nest to clear it, and he gets tied up a bit here with Lindsey Plunkett.
Yeah, and Lindsey Plunkett, I thought, did a pretty good job, sort of nonchalantly put the shoulder into Brian Finley, who had trouble getting back into the goal, and then Vladimir Repnev was able to put it into the awning cage. As we said, you can't miss those ones. Vladimir Repnev never does. He's a guy that the Generals missed over the last 3 games. We talked about this off the top of the game. Vladimir Repnev was out for 3 games with that match penalty suspension, so they really missed him offensively, and we'll start to see them guys, those type of guys, come together.
Right now, at the beginning of the season, I know I for one wondered whether Repnev would miss his line mates Govro and Ralph out there, but he seems to be picking it up of late.
Yeah, he's picking it up, and Repnev's the type of guy that can probably play with anybody. He's very creative, although you're going to miss playing with Govro and Ralph, just like, you know, the fans are going to miss watching those guys play, and the Generals organization is going to miss them, but they've moved on to bigger and better things in professional hockey, so Repnev's got to find somebody else that he can play with, and maybe more importantly, Coach George Burnett has to find somebody else for Repnev to play with, but either way, he's going to score goals. That's just in his nature.
You're right. Now, one of the things we talked about was the confidence factor, and obviously after a big win in Ottawa on Friday night, 3-2, right in the nation's capital, they're coming out tonight, and that confidence is going right through the legs. We'll see this. I believe this was a 3-on-1 here by the Colts.
Yeah, the confidence is really starting to show for Oshawa on this particular play. You know, nobody panics. Derek Dolson gets over to try and make the save. It ends up grazing the outside of the post, so they may have gotten a little bit lucky on that one, but the confidence that this team is showing is almost surprising because it's been non-existent so far in the season, especially after 2 periods of play. You know, they had a couple of leads, I guess, last weekend or the weekend before, the one in Kingston and the one in North Bay. They had 2 leads that they ended up squandering. They looked very not confident in the third period in those games. Now, throughout this game, they've looked very confident. We'll see what they can do in the third. Let's hope they don't start looking for bad things to happen.
Well, this is another play near the end of the period, and Dolson makes a good save on this one as he gets the right pad out there, and then as he pounces on this loose puck and not allowing any Colt to get to that rebound.
Yeah, Dolson's the type of guy that knows what to do and when to do it. He's going to make the smart saves. He gets over there to pounce on that one. And we talked about this during the period. Goaltending's never been a problem for the Oshawa Generals as far as this season is concerned. Going into the season, you know, we talked about the goaltending being solid. When George Burnett was named coach of this team back in, I think, June or maybe before that, he said, you know, we said, what are your concerns? And he said, well, obviously, you know, some of the scoring punch we're going to lose this year is a concern. We've got to find a way to replace it. But he did mention that he wasn't concerned about goaltending. TJ Etchetti and Derek Dolson can both do the jobs, and they've proven it again here this year.
Well, do you see the Oshawa Generals, and you've followed them a bit more closely than I have, do you see them finally starting to buy into the routine and the way that George Burnett wants his team to play?
Absolutely. They have to play the simple style, as George Burnett put it. They don't have that bona fide superstar to go out and put the team on their back. They don't have somebody to score all kinds of goals and lead them offensively. So they have to play that simple style of game. They can't go up the middle with the fancy passes, and they can't, you know, do the little dipsy doodles that maybe some of the more skilled players can do. But what they can do is play together as a team, play a simple style, move the puck through the neutral zone, and they're doing that here tonight. They're doing a very good job of it. The transition game is the best that we've seen it this year. They're coming out of their own zone. They're getting into the neutral zone once in a while. They get caught up, but for the most part, they're making good plays to get into that offensive zone, and you know, that's where you want to be.
Well, the Oshawa Generals, they hold this 3-0 lead, and we've known that they've had some leads the last 4 games, as a matter of fact, going into the third period. They've only managed to win one of those games. The other one was a tie in Kingston and an overtime loss. Or no, it wasn't an overtime loss, but they lost up in North Bay last Sunday night 3-2. What do you think George Burnett is saying in that dressing room right now to these guys?
Well, he's saying keep going with what you're doing, because they do look more confident than they have over the last, 10 games or 9 games so far this season. What we said the last couple of times you asked me that question, I said, well, they got to keep doing what they're doing, and they weren't able to do that in the third period. All of a sudden the wheels fall off. They start looking for those bad things to happen. They find a way to lose. Here tonight they've got a 3-0 lead. The shots on goal are very close. Their goaltending has been solid in the first couple of periods, and they look confident. That's the bottom line, the big C word.
We'll be right back with the third period. Don't go away.
Civic Auditorium, everybody, where the Oshawa Generals lead the Barrie Colts 3-0 as we await start of play here in the third period. Bob Benham along with Shawn Lackie and Joel Gallant, the rest of our Rogers television crew here tonight, and we hope you fans across the network are enjoying this game. This is a great game so far for the Oshawa Generals, and Joel, as we alluded to during the intermission, can they hold on to this 3-0 lead? There's no doubt they can if they play the same way they played the first 40 minutes of this hockey game.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's the key for the Generals now, is playing the same way that they have in the first 2 periods. That's where the problem has lied. So far the fans are looking at this and saying, wow, what a great game for this Oshawa team. They're playing outstanding hockey, but the problem area has been the third period. They've held leads before this season. They've got to hold on to that lead. They almost squandered it on Friday night in Ottawa. We saw a disallowed goal. The Generals got a pretty good break on that one, and they ended up holding on for the 3-2 win. But here tonight they've got a little bit more of a comfortable cushion. They're leading 3-0 in their own building. All they have to do is keep these Barrie Colts in their own end instead of in the Oshawa Generals end.
Well, the Generals will have to kill off the remaining, I believe, 28 seconds of the penalty here as we start the play here in the third period. I believe that's Lindsey Plunkett in the box as a result of that hook. So the fans have to be, I would think, Joel, just a little more than happy with the result that they've seen so far here tonight, unaccustomed as they are to seeing their hometown Generals win too many hockey games this year. They're actually looking for their first home ice win of the season here tonight.
They are, and wouldn't the fans love to see the first one here tonight against this Barrie Colts team, who the fans have deemed to be one of the Oshawa Generals' major rivals, and it's a conference rival. When it comes down to it and the top 8 teams make the playoffs, the Generals will want to beat the Barrie Colts more than they don't.
Branham now over and over the blue line at the top of the circle, and that shot's deflected high and over the net and out of play.
Well, Barrie does well to get out there and get a quick scoring opportunity. They've only got 10 more seconds left in the penalty to Lindsey Plunkett, so they want to score quickly here if they're to score on the power play opportunity. And you know, we talked about the Generals doing what they've done for the first 2 periods, remaining confident and not looking for bad things to happen in the third. The other key is going to be to play a little bit smarter when it comes to penalties, because we saw them take a couple of penalties in the second that they shouldn't have taken.
Play underway. Branham with that puck fails to handle it cleanly. He has to go back and pick it up in the neutral ice area. Branham now in back behind his own blue line with that puck. Penalty now over to the Generals, so both teams back at 5 aside as Judziski brings the puck in. That shot goes off his stick, goes over to Henderson. He feeds it across. Dolson out of the net, but Spence there to help him out, and he'll pick up the puck and clear the zone for the Generals. Henderson now in behind his own blue line with that puck. Henderson takes the return pass, and that gets past Beckerlich down into the General zone. And this will be an icing call as Spence gets back to touch it up. Play just underway, 1:04 into the third period. Generals in front of the visiting Colts from Barrie, 3-0. Good look there at Kolda.
That's not Kolda.
No, I know that's not Kolda.
Kolda doesn't
they
have
were
purple
too
hair.
quick for me. Kolda doesn't what?
Have purple hair.
Okay.
That's an interesting hairstyle. I said interesting, that's all.
Face off to the right of Brian Finley.
Actually, I've never seen Ladislav Kolda without a helmet. So maybe he does have purple hair.
Mitchell from the point gets the shot through. That's deflected wide of the net. It's an injured Barrie Colt player down on his own end of the rink. I believe that's number 10. That's Jan Platil down there. He may have blocked that shot.
Exactly what I was going to mention. I believe Platil was the one who went down to block the shot. You could hear it deflect off of his equipment, but it must have caught a soft spot. He's pointing to the inside of his leg, which would be his tibula, I believe. Is that right?
Who made you a doctor? Kildare or Casey?
I have no idea what you're saying.
I know you don't. You're a little too young for that. Everybody in the truck's going, what? Walford in to take the face-off just inside the Barrie Colts blue line. Out there with Repneff and Plunkett out of the forward units. Cole and Mitchell back on the points. Play inside the General zone. And the net's taken off its moorings as Passfield is actually a bit of a hook there taken to the ice. He slides into Dolson, who then takes the net off its moorings, but that'll be a whistle on a face-off in the Oshawa zone. See it coming up here as Passfield breaks for the net. Good play by the Generals. Perhaps I'm not sure who that was, but he may have got away with a hook on that play.
Well, it's kind of interesting because the face-off remains inside the General zone, so Bill Piersniak recognizes that an Oshawa General player sort of made that happen, but at the same time he elected not to make the call for a penalty.
Passfield didn't take the face-off. Generals pick it up off the circle. Colden now from behind his net on the near boards plays it up for Repneff. Repneff able to get it out to center. Ryan O'Keefe, our second period intermission guest, now with that puck. O'Keefe steps over center ice, doesn't get it deep into the General zone. Reach now on the far side, will retreat back into his own zone, plays it cross ice for O'Keefe. These two guys playing tic-tac-toe with the puck in their own end of the rink as they manage to get it up the center. It goes off the skate of Passfield. This could be an icing call. Passfield gets back there to touch it, so no icing on that as he beat the General player to the puck. Repneff tries to backhand it out. O'Keefe there to keep it in. Out front, and misfiring on that was number 23. Byveld's in there. Generals under a little bit of pressure. They managed to clear the zone. This will be an icing call. Reeds back there to touch that puck, and that'll be an icing call against the Generals. So Joel, the Generals under a little bit of pressure early here in this third period.
They are. The Barrie Colts are a team that knows they don't have a whole lot of time to get back into the hockey game. When you're trailing by 3 and you're into the third period, there's a small sense of urgency as far as scoring goals is concerned. So the Generals know that the Barrie Colts are going to be pressing hard, and they're doing that so far here early in the third period. The question is, when do the Oshawa Generals go into a defensive shell and just try and keep the puck out of their zone?
I would hope that they don't do that, to be honest with you, because sometimes when you go into that defensive zone, or maybe a little too quick, it can backfire on you. Trying to sit on a lead, I'm not sure I totally agree with that method of play. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but to me, if you're
if you're playing well and you've got some offense going, why take a back step?
Yeah, and it's less important what I think, maybe more so what George Burnett thinks, and he's been saying that this team has to play aggressive hockey. If they don't, then things start to happen that they don't want to happen.
Prisniak calling an elbowing penalty here. I believe this is going to the Colts. It is going to number 18. That's Will Wellman.
Well, this is a great opportunity for the Generals to build on that lead if they were to stay aggressive here in the third period. We'll see who Coach George Burnett puts out for the power play opportunity, and it looks like over the boards comes Lindsey Plunkett, and I would expect to see Brandon Cullen with him at some point. We've seen John Hedberg and Kevin Mitchell play the points most often tonight, but now we're going to see Ladislav Kolda and Kevin Mitchell play the points. This time we're seeing on the forward line Lindsey Plunkett with Vladimir Repnev and Brad Walford. And of course, Walford is the newest Oshawa General, played his first game on Friday night versus the Ottawa 67s. Very good on the face-off, had 2 assists, and he's got 1 here tonight too.
Puck steered back into the corner by the Colts off the face-off. Plunkett in there doing some forechecking. Repnev along the boards picks up that loose puck. Repnev along the half boards gets it back to the point to Kolda. Repnev takes a return pass. Walford gets it back to the point. Kolda winds up, gets the shot through. That just goes high of the top corner. Back to the point to Mitchell. Mitchell over to Kolda. Back to Mitchell in the middle of the ice, into the corner for Repnev. Back to Mitchell. He winds up. That shot's deflected wide of the net. Generals applying some good pressure as they get it out front. They score! Kolda, number 27, in off the point. Takes the pass from behind the net. The Generals on a power play goal on front of the Barrie Colts, 4-0.
Oh, that's great for the Generals. And you talk about confidence. Ladislav Kolda has gained a ton of it. I believe that's his 3rd of the year now. And he comes in off of the point. It takes a lot of confidence for a defenseman to do that. Now, Ladislav Kolda is a rookie in this league. He's a CHL import pick for the Generals, but he's been shown a lot of, they've instilled a lot of confidence in him by putting him out on the power play since the season began. A lot of that was out of necessity because they just didn't have anybody else. But here tonight, they put him out there with Kevin Mitchell, who he can learn from. There's Ladislav Kolda coming in from the point and scoring a big one.
And Brad Walford in on that, so he has his 4th assist in 2 games for the Oshawa Generals. This kid's turning out to be quite a find for the Generals, Joel.
Absolutely, and as I talk about more often than not, Coach George Burnett and General Manager George Burnett knows what the deficiencies of this team and the needs are, and he finds them.
Cullen out of the corner with a shot. Finley there to smother that. A little roughing going on in front of the net.
We haven't seen a whole lot of Brandon Nolan out there tonight.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I'm sure that was Brandon Nolan, number 23, in there, but he's had very limited ice time here tonight, Joel. Is this a learning process for young Mr. Nolan, or?
I'm not sure what's going on with that. Brandon Nolan has gotten more ice time than that in the first few games that we've seen him play, but with the addition of Brad Walford, perhaps there's more centermen in the lineup that they can use. They're using John Kazoritz and they're using Brad Walford, of course. So maybe Brandon Nolan gets a little less ice time, and of course Tobias Whalen has played so well this season that they've got to give him a regular shift. So Brandon Nolan has been all of a sudden shuffled to the 4th line.
Whalen wins that faceoff, gets it back to the point. That shot fails to find the mark. Steered into the corner there by Finley. Colson there to pick it up, play it back the other side. Whalen there lets it come back to the point. Played in by Ranger, but his cross-ice pass gets out over the blue line. Brenner now with that puck for the Colts, and over the blue line, drops it back. Platil there. That shot's deflected into the corner by Ranger, and we've got a penalty call coming here for cross-checking. I believe this is coming to Ryan Fraser, number 4.
Ryan Fraser's sort of shaking his head over this one, but Bill Prisniak was right there to see exactly what happened, and he makes the call.
So the Generals, just scoring on a power play, will now have to kill off a penalty as Ryan Fraser takes a 2-minute cross-checking penalty at 15, or with 15:46 to go here in the 3rd period. And Ladislav Kolda, Joel, if I'm not mistaken, he scored in Ottawa on Friday night as well. So back-to-back games for him where he's got a goal.
Yes, Ladislav Kolda did score on Friday night versus the 67, so that's 2 in as many games.
And if you can start getting some goals from your defense, what a big attribute that is to your team, I'll tell you.
Definitely, and Ladislav Kolda is a guy that they want to see improve offensively as the years go on.
John Hedberg is behind his own blue line, picks it up, clears it out to center. That shot high and wide of the net. Judaziski in there to pick it up for the Colts. Judaziski straight up through center. In over the Generals blue line. Oh, that shot almost deflected by
Dolson as he got caught leaving the corner a little too quick. Platil now from this point gets a shot through that, goes off a skate in front of the net. Now the Colts score, number 28, Judaziski on the power play, and the Barrie Colts break through, having scored their first goal of the night.
Well, you can see that there are Colts fans in attendance, and they're happy about that. What hands by Matt Judaziski in close to get that one up and over Derek Dolson. You don't leave a goal scorer like that standing there unattended, and when you're shorthanded, sometimes it's tough not to do, but that was almost an impossible shot to take, and Judaziski made it look easy.
Well, both teams trading power play goals. Joel early here in this third period. Generals still holding on to that 3-goal advantage, leading 4-1. That goal coming at 4:55 here in the third period. Shots 29-25 in favor of the Barrie Colts at this point. Eric Reitz back behind his own net to pick up that puck for the Colts. Plays it off on the far side for Tanut. He couldn't handle it cleanly, so he has to retreat. Reitz takes a hit on the far side. Passfield in there. Now Healy in there throwing his weight around. Tanut unable to pick up that pass at center. Sean Stefanski now with that puck. Plays it in for Healy. Healy goes to the net. Oh, and a good play there by Reitz to block that shot or pass attempt, and Tanut taken down heavily behind the net by Healy on a clean check. I don't think Tanut was too happy about it. I think he thought better of it once he saw who actually hit him. Vladislav Kola with that puck in his own zone, plays it off the boards. The Colts now on the strength of that power play goal trying to pick up a little momentum. Generals there to pick it up and clear it down the ice. This will be an icing call as Branham gets back to touch it up.
It's good to see that the Generals aren't retreating now. This is what the problem was in North Bay, according to Coach Burnett, that he had 5 guys retreating in the third period, sitting back and waiting for that stuff to happen that you don't want to see happen. The Generals seem to be playing a little more confident now. Brian Healy in behind the net with Tanut. That's what we were talking about. Tanut tried to throw the hit, and he ended up on his backside.
Colts control off the faceoff in the general zone. That shot on the far side from Power fails to find its mark. Cullen unable to get it out on the first attempt. Cullen, Eager, and Kazoris now the forward unit out there for the Generals. Spence having trouble trying to corral that puck. Colts on the far side, able to keep it in at the blue line. That puck bounces wide of the net. In behind the net for Bakerlick. He plays it back this way. The Colts player there unable to pick it up. Brenda there now will feed it back in behind the net. Bakerlick with that puck tries to play it out front. Dolson has an eye in that, and he's going to hold that for a face-off with the Colts applying a little sustained pressure here in this third period. Trailing 4-1. Cullen and it looks like Ryan O'Keefe having a few words, discussing some pleasantries, I'm sure.
Oh, Bill Persniak will go over to make sure nothing comes of that. Take a look at the last turn of events in around the Oshawa Generals goal. Derek Dolson covers up. Spence throws a bit of a slash, and words are spoken.
Next game here at the Oshawa Civic Auditorium for you fans in the Oshawa area will be this Saturday afternoon when the Kingston Frontenacs pay a return visit, as the Oshawa Generals will be in Kingston on Friday night. So Joel, a great opportunity. Kingston, the team, they're trailing right now in the East Division. What a great opportunity when you got 2 back-to-back games. Those are both 4-point games in your own division.
I'll tell you what, if you're a fan of hockey, that's a great game to come to. Saturday, October 28th at 2:05 start. It's an afternoon game on a Saturday. The Kingston Frontenacs in town the day after the Generals play the Kingston Frontenacs in Kingston. They've already played them once this year, so you know that that rivalry will begin to develop quite a bit. And just to point something out now, it looks like we've got some sort of stick measurement.
Prisniak on the far side, there's going to be a stick measurement. I'm not sure who it's against, Joel. Did you see who they're calling?
No, I don't know.
Actually, Plunkett's the player on the ice without a stick.
I don't know if Bud Stefanski called for this. Well, he must have with the referees.
Of course, if it's not, then it's a penalty. Is it not against the team that calls it?
Well, the stick has gone into the penalty box, and as will Lindsey Plunkett shortly. I would think the Generals bench is not going to be happy about this. George Burnett looks indifferent to the situation, but you know he's definitely unhappy. I want to finish my thought on why you should come to the Generals game this Saturday. The Kingston Frontenacs back-to-back games, Friday and Saturday. The Saturday one is, of course, at the Oshawa Civic Auditorium. It's a great game to come to. The Generals have the 5-game mini-pack that I was talking about earlier in the game, and the first game of that 5-game mini-pack is this Saturday. You can get a great price on on tickets for 5 games, I strongly suggest doing that. The Kingston game is going to be a good one. And just to finish up what's happening here, Lindsey Plunkett has been given an equipment infraction penalty. 2 minutes he'll sit for using an illegal stick, and now they're just trying to find one that's not illegal because he'll get caught again.
So the Barrie Colts here with an opportunity to get right back in this game, trailing 4-1. They're on their second power play opportunity in a row. Henderson at the top of the circle feeds it back into the corner. Judaziski with that puck on this side. Henderson couldn't handle the pass cleanly. He has to go back. Platil now from the near point goes cross ice for O'Keefe. Judaziski comes off the half boards. That pass across, steered into the corner. Spence trying to tie up Henderson. Laying down in there, Spence goes to the ice. Judaziski with that shot, he scores! Judaziski with his second power play goal in a row, and the Barrie Colts, Joe, are right back in this hockey game with 12:46 left to go in the third.
Well, if you want to figure out who the genius in the building is right now, it's Coach Bud Stefanski of the Barrie Colts. What better time than to call a stick or a stick measurement than when you're trailing by 3 goals with half a period to go in the hockey game. Great timing, but look at the hands by Judaziski once again, finding the top shelf where they keep the peanut butter to get it in between, and that's a great goal by Judaziski.
Matt Judaziski, both goals coming in the same spot, just on opposite sides of the ice. Both times, first time on the left side, second time on the right side, but both times going high into the top corner with Dolson perhaps maybe going down just a bit too soon, Joel.
Well, Judaziski can see what the goaltender is doing. He's such a great goal scorer, and you see it on both of them, putting it up into the top shelf. That's 2 for the highlight reels this week.
Well, we'll see right now what kind of character this young Oshawa General team has, as they've given up 2 power play goals here in a row in this third period to narrow that gap. They're still in front, but they're now in front 4-2. That shot's deflected in front by O'Keefe away from his goaltender, Finley. Repneff in there trying to strip the puck free. Colts able to get it out into the center ice area. Ladislav Kolda back to pick it up. Goes cross ice for Mitchell. Mitchell will play it high out to center. Reeds back to pick it up. Gets it up to Branham on this side. Branham up over the Oshawa blue line. He takes a hit there from Mitchell. Repneff there to clear it back down the ice on a backhand. This could be an icing call here against the Generals. No, they wave it off. Oh, a giveaway in front of their own net there by the Colts number 35, Bakerlek. Spence there to strip pass field of the puck. Sounded like somebody ended up with a broken stick. Hedberg now at the blue line, backhands it into the Colts zone. Branham in there being checked by Healy. Tobias Whalen in there also to help out. He's taken to the ice with a cross check. And Brisniak's going to call a face-off deep in the Colt zone with 11:31 to go here in the third period. So Joel, no safe is lead in the Ontario Hockey League.
No lead is safe. You're absolutely correct, especially when you're playing a team explosive like the Barrie Colts. You know that they're going to come back if you give them the opportunity to, and Coach Bud Stefanski calls the equipment measurement. Lindsey Plunkett takes a penalty. The Colts have scored 2 power play goals, both from their captain, Matt Judaziski, who, as we've seen, has great hands in close, and you don't want to let him shoot the puck.
Now, either that's a lucky guess by Bud Stefanski that Plunkett's a guilty party, or somebody's been watching the stick rack.
Well, I'm sure they've been watching.
Laying down now in over the Oshawa blue line, winds up with a shot, and Dolson right out at the top of the blue ice, and he's going to hold that for a face-off. Brandon Cullen right on top of his man, Henderson, all the way in. Good look there at number 32, Mike Henderson, as we mentioned, the OHL Player of the Week last week. Dolson had that one red all the way. Shots 32-27 at this point in favor of the Colts. Judaziski in on the face-off, didn't do it fairly, so they'll do it all over again, says linesman Barahowski.
You talk about Henderson and Judaziski. This Barrie Colts team has 4 overage players: Ryan O'Keefe, Matt Judaziski, Mike Henderson, and Ed Hill. And of course, Ed Hill, a numbers game tonight, he's out of the lineup. They'd love to have him in, but being that 4th overager, somebody's got to sit.
Judaziski hurt off the face-off. Looks like something happened to his leg, whether he took a shot or was taken to the ice awkwardly, but he goes off. O'Keefe at the blue line to keep it in, and Dolson's going to hold that for another face-off.
Matt Judaziski has just gone towards the Barrie Colts dressing room. He appears unable to put any weight on one of his skates, and that's bad news for Barrie if that's anything serious.
Take a look at it here. Maybe we'll get a chance to see it.
That's the save by Derek Dolson.
No.
It had just happened moments earlier in the general zone.
11:01 to go here in the third period from the Oshawa Civic Auditorium, the OHL Prime Time game of the week. The Oshawa Generals, the Barrie Colts, Bob Benham along with Shawn Lackie, Joel Gallant, and the rest of our Rogers television crew. Hoping you people across the entire Rogers television network are enjoying this game tonight. We have an excellent game here at the Oshawa Civic Auditorium. Eager there to play it down the ice. No icing, waved off by the official on the far side. O'Keefe back to play it around on the boards. Joey Tanute with that puck now in over the blue line, gets the shot on Dolson, and that goes off his glove into the corner. Brenner unable to keep it in for the Colts on the far side. O'Keefe goes cross ice. Walford there to break that up, played back into the Colts zone. Eric Reitz with that puck retreats, goes to Ryan O'Keefe. Tanute now at center with that puck. He'll wind up and fire deep into the Generals zone, and that'll signal a change for the Barrie Colts as the Generals try and vacate their own zone. Eager at center, tries to play it deep into the Colts zone, but it's blocked there. Backerlick gets it up to center for down. Hedberg for the Generals gets back to pick up that puck. Shawn Stefanski along the near boards. He's being watched by Blaine Down. Puck comes out front. Oh, and a good save there by Dolson as Backerlick right in point blank, but perhaps the puck got rolling on him, Joel, as he let the shot go.
Great opportunity for the Colts to pull to within one goal with 9:45 to go here in the third. Richard Spence is going to follow this Barrie Colts player into the corner to slow him up from hitting John Hedberg, and then he ends up out of position a little bit, and the player is able to, one of the other Colts players is able to get a shot on Dolson. And of course the Generals goaltender has been solid tonight. He's seen 36 shots, stopped 34 of them.
Face off to the right of Derek Dolson. Down wins the face off, but the Generals will there to recover. They're unable to clear the zone. That's knocked down with a high stick. I thought it was a high stick, but Healy touched it, no call. Cullen on the far side takes a hit from Down. Cullen still with the puck. Stripped of it at center ice. Henderson trying to break free, but Spence have no part of that. Cullen plays it back into the Colts zone. Doesn't get it in deep enough, and the Colts will play it back down the ice. This could be an icing call. Spence gets back to touch it up. Down would have been offside had he touched it, so this is an icing call here against the Barrie Colts.
Blaine Down looks like he's going to argue the call a little bit, but as you mentioned, he would have been offside anyway, so it didn't matter either way, except for this way. The faceoff is all the way back in the Barrie Colts zone.
9:15 to go here in the third period. The Colts 2 goals, 2 power play goals here in the third period. The Oshawa Generals 1 power play goal.
Couldn't tell who touched the puck on that replay, but it certainly was a good one.
Judaziski back out on the ice, so whatever that injury was to his leg was obviously not too serious. Calder from the near point plays it deep back into the corner behind the net. Repneff unable to get to it. Walford on the far side will play it back in behind the net. Reitz with that puck for Joey Tanute, gets it, knifes it out and down into the General zone. Ladislav Kolda back to pick it up. Cullen unable to handle it cleanly, and Walford plays it back into the corner. Kolda goes behind the net for Mitchell. Mitchell on the far side for Repneff. Cullen now at the blue line winds up, and that off the foot of Reitz, and I'm sure he felt that one as he limps to the bench. Judaziski and over the blue line into the corner, plays it across in front. Oh, and that shot from Tanute just whistles wide of the net, and there's Judaziski going for that high corner again. Flotil in the far side tries to play it out front. Dolson there to knock it away into the corner, and the Generals are going to smother this up in the corner as Walford falls on top of the puck for a face-off. So Joel, I'm not sure whether it's the Generals laying back or the Barrie Colts applying a little sustained pressure here in this third period, but as a result the Barrie Colts are trailing 4-2. We see this last play here as it's fed across in front of the net. That shot just wide of the near post.
I think anybody who expected the Barrie Colts to roll over and play dead after trailing 3-0 going into this period would have been very naive. We fully expected the Colts to come out all cylinders firing here in the third. They ended up going down 4-0, but then they scored 2 on the power play. One, a pretty good goal, and the second, another pretty good goal, and both by number 28, the captain of this team, Max Jidziski.
Down in, the Generals unable to pick up the puck cleanly, but on the near boards, clear to the blue line, kept in there by Power. Laying down for the Colts into the far side. Puck cleared across in front of the net. Stefanski there to try and get it out. That shot just drifts wide of the net. Healy on the far side now will get it up to Stefanski. Stefanski at center. And over to blue line. Tries to play it out in front for Whalen. Stefanski in there to do some forechecking. Takes the puck into the corner. He's taking a good shot from behind. And they'll tie it up for a face-off deep in the Barrie Colts zone. 7:42 to go here in the third period.
A couple of Generals fans facing the wrong way, of course.
Face off to the left of Brian Finley. Zoritz, Cullen, and Ben Eager come out on the forward units. Paul Ranger, number 26, out there with Mitchell. Cullen gets the puck back to the point to Mitchell. Mitchell winds up. That's off the leg of Kazoris. Branham there to pick it up. Goes behind his own net. He'll try and work his way out on the other side. Gets the pass up for Jidziski at center. Jidziski in over the blue line. This guy's got wheels. Gets the shot away. That drifts high over the net. Generals on the far side able to pick it up. Cullen over the blue line for Ben Eager. Eager going in. Oh, and a save. Oh, Brandon Cullen picks up the loose puck. Brian Finley could not find the loose puck, Joel, and Brandon Cullen makes him pay for it.
The fans in attendance are happy about that one. Brian Finley unable to handle the rebound on this play. Brandon Cullen does a good job to see Ben Eager, and Ben Eager's shot is stopped by Finley, but in comes Cullen. He ends up going into the crease to get the rebound, but the referee, Bill Prisniak, says that he went into the crease, which is completely allowed if you're going after the puck, which is already in there. Doesn't interfere with the goaltender. The linesman was the one who actually indicated it was a goal because the referee Prisniak was out of position. So the Generals with that go up 5-2.
How big is that goal?
And that's a very big goal. That takes a little bit of pressure off of the Oshawa Generals now with 7:15 to go in the third. And how about Brandon Cullen continuing to roll along?
Repneff in there to try and pick up that loose puck. He's watching Ryan O'Keefe as the puck is into the Colts zone. Walford comes in to pick up a loose puck. Power has him tied up in the far corner. Barrie Colts play it into the corner on this side. O'Keefe there to pick it up. Up to center, and Henderson taken down with a good check there by Mitchell. Ryan O'Keefe follows up. He gets that shot wide of the net. And then Henderson takes Mitchell to the ice. And I believe Henderson's been tagged here with a penalty. Now I think he's been thrown from the game, Joel.
Well, I believe so. He's very upset. He's saying that Kevin Mitchell took a dive on the play. And whether he took a dive or not, there's no doubt in anybody's mind that it was a vicious slash across the ankle of Kevin Mitchell. And even though he's back up right now and wasn't hurt on the play, it doesn't matter. You can't slash somebody across the ankle like that. And Henderson's upset about it. But I think the right call was made.
It's not the result of the infraction. It's the intent of the infraction.
Absolutely. A lot of players sometimes will say, well, he's up, he's fine, he's not hurt, but it doesn't matter. The point is the infraction was made and something has to be called like that. Here it is right here. Watch 24, Kevin Mitchell, as he skates away. Oh, he just leaves the picture on that play. You couldn't catch it as the camera follows the play, but certainly was a fairly brutal slash.
So the Generals with an opportunity here to increase that 5-2 lead, as Henderson has been given a penalty for slashing and has been banished from the game here in the third period. 6:35 to go. Mitchell now outlets on the far side to Walford. Walford up to the neutral zone, fires it deep into the Colts zone. Repneff taken to the boards with a solid hit. Looks like he may have hurt his shoulder on that play, but he's back up. Walford now with that puck in the far corner. Mitchell open back at the point, tries to feed it through, and that's blocked in front by Platil off his skate. Walford there to pick up the puck for the Generals. Miscues on that, but Mitchell's not going to let his man Judaziski free there to pick up that puck. Ladislav Kolda back to pick up that puck, feeds it up to Cullen. Cullen now at center, fires it in, and that's going to be offside, as that shoot-in was partially deflected at the blue line, held it up long enough to create the offside, and that'll be a face-off just outside the Barrie Colts blue line. And you're right, Brandon Cullen continues to amaze. I shouldn't say amaze, but continues to impress early here in this season. Now with 11 points
in 11 games, and that's outstanding. Brandon Cullen is a guy that last year I said could score 30 goals or so in the OHL, and I think he's a guy that can go to the net and get those rebounds, but he's also got hands as well. He could create scoring chances of his own. He makes a lot of room for himself out there, and that's obviously a positive.
Generals control off the face-off in the neutral ice area. Mitchell there winds up, fires it in off the glass. Barrie trying to get it out. Cole there at the blue line keeps it in, but the Colts pick it up and get it down the ice off the stick of Passfield. 54 seconds to go on that penalty to Henderson. Repneff at center. In over the blue line. Leaves it for Nolan. Nolan gets it back to the point to Cole. Goes cross ice for Mitchell. He tries to come back to Nolan. Good work there by Mitchell to pick up that loose puck. Gets it in front for Nolan, and that shot just fed wide of the net. And that shot's deflected high and out of play down here to our right. So I believe this face-off will be outside the Barrie blue line as that went off an Oshawa General stick into the crowd. Look there at Brandon Nolan, number 23.
If you look at the Generals with some pretty good puck movement as they try and get another one past Brian Finley. That one misses on the far side, and eventually it ends up in the stands. As you mentioned, the face-off will be in the neutral zone, just outside the Barrie Colts blue line.
Nolan taken down off the face-off by Down. Bit of a hit from behind, no call there as Healy takes his man to the ice. Hedberg now with that puck, back in his own zone, trying to get some skating room. Plays it back for Spence. Spence on the far side to Nolan. He winds up. That shot drifts wide of the net. Hedberg unable to keep it in. Feivel with that puck, trying to get in front. The net's well off its moorings there. I was wondering how long it was going to take the officials to call that, as Down and not sure who the Oshawa players, Hedberg, have a few words.
Well, there's no point in getting into anything crazy here with 4:40 left in the hockey game. 3-goal spread, pretty good save here by Derek Dolson. Keep the puck out, and the net ends up going off his moorings, as you pointed out. Richard Spence, the defenseman, involved in that one. The Generals find themselves in pretty good position here with 4:40 to go in the game. As I mentioned, up 5-2. The last thing they want to do is take any silly penalties. Ryan Healy out there throwing his weight around on the last shift. I'm not saying they should go quietly, but at the same time, you just want to be a little bit careful with what you're doing.
Colts control off the faceoff, get it back out to center and down in their own zone as Power goes back to pick it up. Judaziski now with that puck, gives it away inside his own blue line to Eager. Eager tries to play it across for Whalen, and then Eager's taken to the ice with a solid hit. Judaziski and over the blue line, tries to get the shot away. That's deflected well wide of the net. Barrie feed it out front for Ryan O'Keefe. Down to cover up is Dolson, and then in there looking for a rebound was Backerlick, number 35. Boys getting a little bit rambunctious late here in the third period. And Joel, this is the largest offensive output of the season to this point for the Oshawa Generals. 5 goals.
Yes, I believe it is. That's good news for the Generals. They've had a couple of different goal scorers. Vladimir Repnev has 2. Ben Eager has 1. Brandon Cullen has 1, and Ladislav Kolda has 1. So a lot of different people pitching in with the offense tonight. Brad Wolford has a couple of assists. The newest Oshawa General, John Gazorz, has a pair of assists. So we're seeing a lot of offense from some players that we had hoped to see offense from, and some players that maybe we didn't expect it from. So good all the way around here for the Generals tonight.
Generals control off the faceoff. Spence now goes behind his own net, plays it back to Hedberg on the near boards. Cullen there to knife it out to center. Power back to O'Keefe, up to Judaziski. His pass behind Branham, and Branham there to pick it up, fired deep into the General's own. Dolson out of his net to steer it into the corner. Branham there to pick it up, and Dolson got back just in time. he had to be very alert on that, as Branham knew exactly what was going on. Cullen at center will just play it into the Colts zone and signal a change for the Generals. 3:37 to go here in the third period. Generals in front 5-2 over the Barrie Colts. Ackerlick with that puck, fakes the shot, and then he's taken off his feet. Generals there to get it off the glass. Reach strip to the puck at center. This could be a 2-on-1. Kazoris plays it back, but it gets out over the blue line, and Ackerlick there to pick it up. Ackerlick held up at the blue line. Flotil takes the pass. Kazoris trying to tie him up as he takes him to the sideboards. Wales in there to try and help out for the Colts. Flotil unable to get the shot through as Kazoris stays with him. Mitchell now with that puck in the near corner will just lift it high and out to center. Play in the center ice area at this time. Flotil there to pick it up. Number 10 fakes a shot, gives it back to Brenner. Brenner gets the shot through low. Dolson down, and that puck just slides wide of the near post. Mitchell takes his man, and we've got some pushing and shoving, and the net's well off its moorings.
Well, everybody just continued to push there. Poor Derek Dolson was at the bottom of it all. And eventually the net comes off, and the referee Prisniak calls the play, and he ends up giving it to the Barrie Colts as far as the advantage is concerned, because the face-off will be in the General zone to the left of Dolson.
Sorry, Joel, some of the Generals faithful trying to get an early start on the parking lot with 2:39 to go. I guess they feel that a 5-2 lead is safe.
Well, this is the first time they've actually had to get out of here quickly to beat traffic, because the crowds have been so sparse in the early going. Tonight, the official attendance announced was 2,428, and that's the largest crowd of the season so far for the Generals. In my opinion, they should be getting a lot more, and I challenge the Oshawa fans and the Durham area hockey fans to get out here and support this Generals team. A great game coming up October the 28th when the Kingston Frontenacs come to town. An afternoon game, 2:05 start, and it's the first game of the 5-game mini pack, so you can get your tickets at the box office.
Passfield unable to get the puck back to the point cleanly. Repneff there going in. Repneff looking for the hat trick. Repneff taken down as he tries to get the backhand away. And was that Nolan? Nolan was taken down from behind, and no call by Prisniak.
He's been hit from behind 3 or 4 times this year.
Kazoris feeds it back into the corner for Nolan. He can't get his stick on the puck. Kazoris goes off on the far side. Wales trying to get around his man. Hedberg having none of that. Reeds back to pick it up for the Colts. Goes cross ice for O'Keefe. Ryan O'Keefe getting a lot of ice time here late in this third period. Hedberg in there being watched by Brenner. Wales in to pick up that loose puck. Feeds it behind the net. Passfield now with that puck. Works up to the top of the circle. Goes cross ice for O'Keefe. That shot fed through, and a large rebound given away there by Dolson. Back to O'Keefe, and Dolson there to hold that one. And that after giving up a fat rebound on the first shot.
More pushing and shoving, and in the last 5 minutes or so, we've seen pushing and shoving pretty much after every whistle. These two teams getting a little bit frustrated with each other. The Barrie Colts are frustrated that they're unable to come in here and outplay the Generals tonight, a team that sits last in the Ontario Hockey League. And the Generals frustrated that the Barrie Colts are trying to take liberties here late in the game. So you see pushing and shoving happening. 1:42 to go. The Generals lead at 5-2. And as far as the shots on goal are concerned, it's pretty lopsided. The Barrie Colts now have 46 shots to the Generals 29. I would think that Coach George Burnett would be disappointed in that, but Derek Dolson has played very well in between the pipes for Oshawa.
Little ice repair going on in front of Derek Dolson.
The linesmen get all the fun jobs. They get to break up fights, get skates and sticks and everything else hitting them, and they get pucks fired along the boards hitting them, and they get to fix the ice when that happens.
That's why they're paid the megabucks.
I guess so.
Joey Tanut in to take this face-off against Kazoris. Colts went off the face-off, get it back to O'Keefe. He winds up. That shot just drifts wide of the net. Cullen on the near board is unable to get to that puck in time, but Kazoris follows up, gets the puck out to center. Now he'll play it deep into the Colts zone. Power in there as Cullen takes him in on the boards. Joey Tanut now with that puck will try and get around Colda, but back there to help him out is his teammate Mitchell. O'Keefe on the far side keeps it in for the Colts, but Kazoris there to intercept that shot through, and he'll just play it lazily in on Brian Finley and get a change for the Generals as Finley takes a few of the raspberries from the crowd in attendance.
What did I say about Finley at the beginning of this game, though?
I don't remember what you said. I know what you said. Finley well out of his net again to clear that puck away.
I said for some reason one of the best junior goaltenders in the whole world has trouble with this Oshawa Generals team, and Finley has tonight.
Now we've got Stefanski going at it down along the boards. I believe it's 18 Will Whalen that he's in fights with. Stefanski certainly had a height disadvantage, but he's throwing a few punches. He's more than holding his own.
Well, Stefanski landed a few.
And he puts Whalen down on his backside.
Now the question is, does Whalen get benched next game for fighting the coach's kid? We haven't seen Shawn Stefanski out there a whole lot tonight playing against his dad's team, but there he is on this particular shift, and I'd love to be able to see Bud Stefanski on the Generals bench.
What do you think was going through Dad's mind at that time when he saw his son in a fight there? Who do you hope for?
I don't know, that's a strange one. It's interesting that something would happen like that. Finally, we see a little bit of action with Shawn Stefanski in this hockey game, and of course Bud Stefanski, the coach of the Barrie Colts, proud of his son playing in the Ontario Hockey League. At the same time, I'm sure he doesn't want him beating up his own forwards.
Well, that all coming with 44 seconds left here in the third period. The Oshawa Generals about to skate off with their second consecutive win of the year, back-to-back wins in Ottawa on Friday night, and here against the Central Division leading Barrie Colts tonight. And Joel, a couple of very good wins for the Oshawa Generals, and hopefully this will kickstart the season for them.
That's what you would hope for if you were an Oshawa Generals fan, and I mean, they've played very well the last couple of games. They got on their heels in the third period on Friday night. I think they finally figured out a way to play with a lead, and it happened here in front of the hometown fans tonight.
Walford plays it out down the ice. Seeger touches that, but he's going to be offside, so they'll bring it back inside the Oshawa blue line and do it all over again. Good look there at Derek Dolson, who's played very well in goal here tonight, as did TJ Achetti in Ottawa on Friday night. So goaltending certainly not the problem the Oshawa Generals have had this year. It's been lack of goal scoring, but tonight they've got 5, they got 3 in Ottawa, so now maybe they finally found out what it is that this game's all about.
The problem is, who the heck do you put in between the pipes on any given night? And it's a great problem to have for a coach. Both goaltenders can win hockey games for you. That's been proven.
Edberg with some great wheels, able to get the puck into the Barrie zone. Cleared back out the center. Walford with that puck now. He'll play it deep back into the Barrie zone. Reads back to pick it up, goes behind his own net, plays it on the far side for Ryan O'Keefe. Time winding down. The buzzer goes to end the game, and the Oshawa Generals skate off with a well-deserved, well-earned 5-2 victory over the Barrie Colts. Joel?
Well, the fans are on their feet here tonight, and this is, you know, it's obviously not the Memorial Cup, but this is a big step for the Generals. They win in front of the hometown fans, but not only the win, but the confidence that they played with throughout the night. I've said that word so many times tonight that I'm almost tired of saying it, as you're probably tired of hearing it, but the point is, the Generals played with a lot of it tonight. They didn't, maybe on Friday night, not so much. In Ottawa, they were up 3-1 at one point. They ended up being up 3-2, and then Ottawa had a goal called back, so they weren't as confident. But tonight, I mean, all throughout the game, they played with the lead very well. They were up 4-0 at one point. The Colts got back in it a little bit, yeah, but I mean, those were on power play opportunities, and then the Generals go out and get the big insurance goal. So you have to be happy with what they've done tonight.
If we were picking the 3 stars tonight, Joel, who would you pick from the Oshawa Generals, and who would you pick from Barrie?
Well, just from looking at the shots on goal, I'm going to go ahead and give Derek Dolson something, because they were outshot 46-30. 46-30 there. So I mean, 16 more shots for the Colts. Derek Dolson stopped 44 of them. You have to give him one. I think you probably give Matt Shudajewski one for scoring 2 for the Barrie Colts. And there's Derek Dolson taking the star. It's not fair anymore because I can see who's standing in the hallway. Looks like Vladimir Repnev, who scored a couple.
Well, Repnev back in the lineup tonight after missing those 3 games due to that suspension. And boy, what an asset he is when he's in the lineup and scoring goals, the way he can score.
Yeah, and Vladimir Repnev is the first star of the game, and you know, you can't argue with that. He scored a couple here tonight, but you know, I like the play of a guy like Walford, who got 2 assists. I mean, he's a new Oshawa General. He's got 4 assists in his first 2 games. Not only that, but he's out there taking face-offs, and that's a tough thing to do in the Ontario Hockey League, is win face-offs. It's also a very important thing to do. You have to have possession in the other team's zone, or else you're not going to get those scoring opportunities. So I give Brad Walford an honorable mention tonight.
Well, both teams traded goals here in the third period. There's 4 goals in this third period tonight, 2 by the Generals, 2 by the Barrie Colts, as the Oshawa Generals prevail 5-2 over the Barrie Colts. They now have back-to-back wins here in the East Division, and that's certainly good for them, and as they get ready for Kingston. And we hope you've enjoyed this game. You've been watching OHL Prime Time live on Rogers Television.